actually Nahida, aren't you? Paimon felt like Catherine was acting weird when we met at the Sumeru's festival. And... Dunyarzad, did you save her?
It's a really long story. We shouldn't disturb her. Her consciousness is still weakened. Let's chat somewhere else. How about by the Traveler's favorite bench?
Let's talk about Dunyarzad first. It's such a relief that she's all right.
After we parted on the last day of the Sumeru's festival, I left the city and saw what the Traveler had described. Among the countless dreams, I found one that was growing fainter and fainter. This proved my suspicion. Once Dunyarzad could no longer bear the Akasha harvesting her dreams, her consciousness began to dissipate. But this also meant it escaped the Akasha's control. Such a small fragment of consciousness can't last for very long, though. It will return to its original dream, where both will gradually fade until they completely disappear. I used all the power I had to keep her dying dream alive as long as possible. But it still wouldn't have lasted for much longer if it hadn't been for you two breaking the samsara.
So it looks like we did manage to save Dunyarzad in the end. And not a moment too soon.
Huh? Why are you two smiling so happily? I thought you'd be so moved that you'd start crying. I need to spend more time observing human emotions.
Both are fine. Everyone reacts differently.
All right. You two must have a lot of other questions for me, right? After all, you saved my faithful believer. As your reward, I will answer any and all questions.
At the Avidia forest, there was this incense that made the Traveler fall unconscious and dream of a huge tree and a red sky.
You also heard someone's voice, right? It said world and forget me.
Yeah, so you do know. We've been wanting to ask you what that was about, and if the red sky was related to Khaenri'ah.
It seems like the Traveler established a connection to Irminsul. That was a message left by Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul. Perhaps her last memory before she died. As you two probably know, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared after the disaster in Khaenri'ah. The timings of these events do line up, so your suspicions are reasonable.
A message from Greater Lord Rukkhadevata? We thought it was from the Scarlet King.
The Scarlet King? That god who died even longer ago? Some present-day desert dwellers still worship him. You probably just heard some of their conspiracies.
Okay, so what does the message mean?
I still haven't managed to decipher it. Even the Akasha isn't currently capable of doing that. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's residual consciousness in Irminsul seems to be contaminated with something that has a very dangerous aura to it. Many devoted scholars go mad as soon as they connect their consciousness. I've warned the academia about this many times, but people still keep falling victim to it. But I believe this is the key to saving Irminsul. That's why I've kept trying to decipher it.
So the tree in the vision was Irminsul? Oh, Tighnari also said that Irminsul is sick. Is it because of the contaminated consciousness? But even if you can't figure out what that vision was all about, it seems like our search for you was all in vain.
The Traveler wasn't affected after coming in contact with that consciousness. I've never seen anyone like that. With you here, we may have a chance at deciphering it. No, we must decipher its secrets. I've already eliminated all other factors that might affect Irminsul. This is the only one left. This puzzle has life and death at stake. It could determine Irminsul's fate, as well as Tevat's. To be accurate, I'm using the Akasha as a medium to occupy Catherine's consciousness.
How did you do that? Poor Catherine. Does this mean you can also occupy other people's consciousnesses?
Theoretically, I can enter anyone's mind as long as they're wearing their Akasha terminal. The Akasha is the legacy of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. As Lesser Lord Kusanali and the first Akasha terminal, my consciousness has always been linked to the Akasha. I've always respected my people's free will, so I've never actually occupied their consciousness. When necessary, I just borrow this bionic Snezhnayan puppet.
Hold on. Did we just learn some deep, dark secret? So Catherine is... No wonder Paimon felt something was off about her. What about your own body? Why do you need to borrow other people's? Don't you live in the sanctuary of Surasthana?
That story begins a long time ago. After Greater Lord Rukkhadevata disappeared, the sages found my newly born self and took me back to Sumeru. At that time, I was young and weak. The sages kept me in the sanctuary of Surasthana, ostensibly for the sake of protecting me. But I've hardly heard from them since. However, I do understand that they had hoped to find Greater Lord Rukkhadevata instead of me, a symbol of her passing.
So, the sages basically put their new Archon under house arrest? How dare they! Why don't you teach them a lesson, Nahida?
In some ways, they aren't wrong. Greater Lord Rukkhadevata was omniscient and omnipotent. Even after her death, the Akasha is still empowering this nation. And I'm still really far away from being able to call myself the God of Wisdom. Moreover, the Academia is also more proficient at governing this country. My existence has little meaning.
Yeah, you got a lot of believers. Just look at the Sub-Zero's festival. Everyone who showed up truly loves you.
Thank you for the kind words. But I honestly don't need physical freedom as long as I can connect my consciousness to the Akasha. Trying to find a way to save Irminsul is my life's mission and top priority. I will work on that, and try to live up to being a deity in the meantime. Every once in a while, I will also take up the duties of the God of Wisdom and enlighten a lost soul here and there. Doing all that should be enough. There's never been any big problems with the Academia's governance of Sumeru. This is the first time I've seen them step out of line. I wonder what caused them to go down this path, and what they hope to achieve. Even though the city's residents haven't noticed anything strange, if the Traveler hadn't broken the Sub-Zero's samsara, the situation could have become dire. I tried to do some investigating in the Akasha, but I couldn't find anything suspicious. And all the people of interest seem to purposely avoid wearing their Akasha terminals. I think they're deliberately trying to hide something.
Oh, that reminds Paimon. In Gandharvaville, there was a sage who had invited Tainari to join some kind of project. Could it be related?
Regardless, I need to first investigate the sage's motives, make things right, and punish them if needed. But I'll have to be discreet, or they'll see me coming. You mean how the Akasha stops you from having dreams?
Yeah, it's been such a long time. No one's noticed something's up?
It's not that no one noticed. It's more like no one cared. Ultimately, it's all rooted in the sage's misdirection.
Misdirection?
The sages convinced everyone to believe that being unable to dream is a sign of rationality and wisdom. Not dreaming is a badge of honor in Sumeru, even if the truth is that their dreams are being reaped by the Akasha. With their propaganda in place, the sages can maximize their use of the Akasha to facilitate their research. Besides, Greater Lord Rukkhadevata must have created the Akasha in the hopes that it could be used to its full potential. That's why I've never come out strongly against this. Anyway, the perspective advocated by the sages drowned out any voices of doubt. By now, even those who never use Akasha terminals find it too shameful and embarrassing to talk about their dreams. Got it. I hope my answers were satisfactory, seekers of knowledge. To be honest, maintaining Dunyarzad's fading dream took a lot of mental energy. I think I may need to rest for a while. Oh, and you don't need to worry too much about the sage's activities for now. The Akasha won't be able to conduct another project on the scale of the Sub-Zero's samsara in the immediate future.
Go and get some sleep. Leave everything to us.
What a relief. This is truly the most exhausting birthday I've ever had.
Traveler? Paimon? Why am I here? Do either of you know?
Maybe you were sleepwalking. You know you can't wake up a sleepwalker. We happened to walk by, so we thought we'd wait for you to wake up.
I see. Huh. I should visit my maintenance personnel sometime. Oh, I'm fine. I better go. Thank you. Ad Astra Abyssosque. We meet again, you two.
Hi, Catherine. Do you have any commissions for us today?
Commissions, huh? Let me think. Oh, how about this? Please attend the Academia's Academic Symposium this afternoon and recite a love poem on stage.
Wait, say what now?
And if possible, please also use your camera to capture the reaction of the audience upon finishing the poem.
Huh? What kind of commission is that?
I see. It appears that you're not interested in this commission. In that case, please go to Port Ormos and convince the Eremites there to spend some time volunteering at the local orphanage.
Hey, that's not any better.
I'm sure the mercenaries will have some interesting reactions as well.
Paimon's gotta ask. Just who exactly has been submitting these commissions to the Adventurers Guild?
Oh, the commissioner? Well, actually, I just wanted to see the two of you in action.
Was it so obvious? I was hoping you would actually take one of those commissions. That kind of chance to observe humans doesn't come by often.
Ah, so it's Nahida. Paimon just knew Catherine wouldn't crack those kinds of jokes. When did you get into her head?
From when she said, Ad Astra Abyssosque?
So it's been you this whole time? Are you done resting up, Nahida?
Yes. I've been sleeping ever since we parted ways, and I even had a really, really long dream. It was another dream about the Sub-Zerus Festival, except it was a happy one. In my dream, I was sitting in the middle of a flower terrace, and everyone in Sumeru City was holding hands as they danced in circles around me. They danced round and round, and everyone looked really happy. I also got to sit on a gigantic flower carriage. Ferris, the Knight of Flowers, raised me really, really high above the ground, and I was throwing an endless amount of Yalda candies at the children.
You know, Nahida, maybe your dream is how the Sub-Zerus Festival really should be. It's meant to be a joyous time where everyone gets together to celebrate your birthday.
Huh? Wasn't I describing a really happy dream? Why are you both looking at me like that? Wait, could this be an example of the emotion known as pity?
No, we aren't pitying you. That would only make everything worse. We just don't want you to feel too sad. By the way, have you had a chance to visit Dunyarzad? How's she doing? The Homianis haven't allowed any visitors after the festival, so we haven't been able to check on her.
Yes, I paid her a visit right after I woke up. She was resting at the time. Her condition is stabilized. However, since Elazar is a manifestation of the withering on the human body, we can only cure it by finding a way to take care of Irminsul's own withering. But for the moment, our top focus should still be figuring out what the sages are up to and what they're planning.
Right. Who knows what'll happen if they manage to pull off another scheme like the Samsara of the Sub-Zerus Festival.
So our first priority should be investigating and putting a stop to the sages' activities. As for how we should pull that off, let's discuss it somewhere else. There are too many adventurers around here.
Oh, good point. Sorry, adventurers. We're gonna be borrowing Catherine for a little while.
Let's continue our chat here.
Okay, so do you have any ideas on how we can investigate the sages, Nahida?
Actually, I've already done a little bit of work on that. But for now, I want to hear your thoughts. I've already tried that, but all the key members of the Academia, even the core 30 guards, intentionally avoid wearing their Akasha terminals. It seems that from the very beginning, they've been guarding against info leaks from the Akasha. Of course, it could also be because they're wary of me.
Have you already caught the sage's attention?
I'm guessing not yet, but distrusting me would make perfect sense if they've ever paid attention to the urban legends about me. In any case, I probably can't take over their minds directly. We're in the dark as of now. Since we still don't know anything about their goals, any rash move could tip them off and lead to terrible consequences. After all, every person in Sumeru City is one of their hostages. No way, that's too risky.
You mean it'd be too easy to get caught?
No, it's not that. We shouldn't involve innocent students in this. A single mistake could completely ruin their lives. Doing that would be ignoring the safety of my people for my own selfish goals. How is that any different from what the sages are doing?
That's a good point. Spoken like the god of Sumeru. Are we really out of ideas? Nahida, you're super smart, so you already have something in mind, right? Don't keep us in suspense. Spill the beans already.
According to a popular theory from the Vahumana Darshan of the Academia, rejecting impractical motions at the beginning of a planning session will give more weight to the actual proposal.
Okay, but aren't you the god of wisdom? You don't have to use that kind of gimmick to make us take your ideas seriously.
Well, I've been thinking that if I can't directly possess the leaders, and if I can't get ordinary people involved, then I should find someone who's already involved, but hasn't decided to side with the sages.
You're saying we should recruit a spy? That does sound like it could work. Oh, before coming back, we met someone named Alhaitham. He seems like he acts alone, and he likes doing stuff behind the Academia's back. They probably aren't in cahoots.
Actually, I already have someone in mind. Do you still remember that female scholar named Setaria?
Setaria. Paimon remembers now. Isn't she the one who's always trailing behind the Grand Sage of the Academia? We ran into her basically every time the Sub-Zero's festival repeated itself. You could even say we're old enemies by now. Paimon still remembers the smug and mean way she always spoke to Nilou.
I've always liked observing all kinds of people, and Setaria has always stood out from the crowd. She was born in the desert and was hailed as their greatest genius. Her academic gifts allowed her special admission into the Academia, and also gave her the opportunity to serve as the sage's assistant.
Oh, Paimon didn't know she was from the desert. She must be pretty special then. Paimon feels like most of the desert dwellers around the city are working as mercenaries.
The name Setaria means star. When she lived in the desert, she shone like the brightest star in the night sky. Later on, she was chosen by the sun. The star was given a place in the daytime sky to complement the sun's dazzling light. Soon after, the star witnessed the sun scorching the earth, which brought forth many disasters. The star began to waver. Instead of staying beside such a sun, wouldn't it be better to return and light up part of the night sky? But in the end, she couldn't give up the radiance of daytime. To cope with her shame, the star buried her guilt and closed her eyes.
From the sound of it, Setaria's just hung up on the research opportunities here. But she doesn't really support the Academia. She still feels guilty about not doing more for the desert, right? She's just running away from her problems.
Indeed. When they are presented with complex moral issues, many people will simply plug their ears and go with the flow until the problem can't be fixed anymore. She's suppressing a lot of guilt, but before she realized it, she had already become the sage's accomplice. She can't deny her part in their schemes anymore. Right. We must somehow make her face her problems again. That way, not only can we get useful intel from her, but she can also use it as an opportunity to redeem herself. From my past observations, Setaria will take a day off from the academia every 10 days to do some shopping in the city. Tomorrow afternoon just happens to be a shopping day for her. That'll be our chance. To prepare, let's go check out some of her favorite spots and have a quick chat with a few of the vendors there. This should be Setaria's favorite fortune-telling spot.
So should we ask the fortune teller about Setaria?
No, I already have enough information on Setaria. The most important thing now is for you to pay attention to the vendor's talking style and key characteristics.
Talking style and key characteristics?
My poor lost lambs, have you become troubled over your fates? The divine voice of wisdom often echoes between mine ears. If thou be blessed today by the gods, I may be able to show you the way.
Huh? Really? Nahida, you've been whispering things to her?
Shh! My friend here has some doubts regarding her future. Can we get a fortune reading for her?
Of course, of course. In that case... It would seem that Harut and Marut are quite wary of you. Perhaps, at some time in the past, you have somehow offended the gods.
Only mocking the god of Animo, questioning the lord of Geo's financial savviness, and brawling with the god of Electro. Do those count?
Oh, nothing. Go on, pick an aspect for her to divine.
Health prospects. No problem at all. Oh. The gods have spoken. The truth shall be revealed. Your life shall continue on for many tens of thousands of years. Impossible. Harut, Marut, did you two spoil my divination? I've never read a fortune so absurd.
Actually, Paimon thinks this is probably the most accurate fortune-telling you've ever done.
I admit that the orientation of today's celestial matrix is, suboptimal. As such, there will be no charge.
Is that so? Well, that can't be helped.
If you were to bring some food offerings for Harut and Marut on your next visit, perhaps they could help you reverse the wheels of fate.
Is this another one of Setaria's favorite stalls?
Yep. It belongs to a king. His father helped Setaria a lot when she first moved to Sumeru City, so she still comes by whenever she has time. When I start talking with him, listen carefully to the details of our conversation.
Ah, dear customers. Would you like to look at some pottery?
We caught wind of your great craftsmanship, so we specifically came to take a look.
Oh, I recognize you. Aren't you Miss Catherine from the Adventurers Guild? Sounds like I'm in for some big business.
Speaking of, where did you learn this trade?
I suppose you could say it all started with my dad. He's a mason by trade, but I picked up an interest in clay while apprenticing for him. After that, I began making pottery by myself in secret. And I simply changed trades when my works turned out well. Although it's a pity that I'm no longer making much use of the knowledge provided to me by the Akasha.
That's nice. You're making a living doing something you love.
So is your father still working as a mason?
Oh no, not anymore. A few years back, he fell from a roof and broke his leg. Since he had already saved enough mora over all these years, he's just enjoying the retired life in Port Ormos nowadays.
I see. We wish him peace and happiness in his retirement. I'll have someone in charge of logistics at the guild come by another day for some goods. We'll leave you to it. Take care now.
No problem. Rest easy, all our goods are sure to meet your every need.
This should be our final stop. Setaria's always thinking of this restaurant when she's working at the academia. so she always comes by whenever she's out in the city.
Nahida, you've really thought of everything.
It's my duty to protect Sumeru's citizens, after all.
Hi there. I feel like I've seen you down by the docks before.
Huh? Sorry, I don't quite remember.
If I recall, you were having a discussion with someone about shipbuilding at the time.
Ah, that's right! I've always been really interested in feats of marine engineering. After all, I grew up in Liyue Harbor and spent my entire childhood staring at the ships going in and out of the port. I came to Sumeru to study, but failed to make it into the academia due to my lack of talent. But I'm still discussing all kinds of problems with different scholars, and I'm continuing to study and perform research from the restaurant's basement. I'm sure I'll get into the academia after their next round of exams.
What an admirable spirit for learning. Amazing!
Sure, but you'll find hardworking people wherever you go.
So this restaurant has a basement as well? Huh. First I've heard of it.
That's right. It's not usually open to patrons. Most of the time, employees use it for breaks or to hold private events.
I see. Guess that makes sense. Well, good luck with your studies, Miss Chishan.
Thank you so much. As long as I can make it into the academia as an official student, I'll be happy.
So, was that everybody?
3 familiar faces should be enough for Setaria.
What's the point of all the information we've collected? Nahida, you still haven't told us how you're planning to make Setaria face her problems.
Setaria is already used to avoiding her problems, so we must find a way to break through her usual sensibilities. I remember that you mentioned that the Eremites in Port Ormos are all making a fuss about the upcoming resurrection of the Scarlet King. Although it's all just a boatload of nonsense, the fate of her homeland may turn out to be Setaria's soft spot.
Oh, Paimon gets it now. You want to take advantage of the guilt Setaria feels about her homeland. Although she knows she should return home to help the people of the desert, all she's done is conspire with the sages. So how do we set that up?
Well, the Scarlet King is long gone, and Setaria is also too smart to fall for any simple tricks. If we simply engaged her under the guise of the Scarlet King's believers, she would definitely be wary of us, and we may not get anywhere. But if we were to borrow some of her close acquaintances to talk with her, her reaction would probably be very different.
So you mean you're going to possess those people we just talked to?
Yep. Possess them through the Akasha. Imply that they've already converted to the faith of the Scarlet King, and then convey our made-up will of the Scarlet King. As long as everything goes smoothly, we'll get through to Setaria for sure. She'll never guess that we had anything to do with it.
So that's how you're going to use all the info we collected on these people. It's so that you won't slip up and break form. Possessing them will only work if you can manage to pass off as them.
Exactly. So, best of luck with impersonating them.
Huh? Best of luck? But we don't know how to possess anyone.
That's no problem at all. I'll just share all their senses with you once I've possessed them. As long as you're also wearing an Akasha terminal, the effect will basically be as if you've possessed them yourself.
Huh. That is pretty convenient. But why does she have to do this? Can't you do it yourself?
Although I've been observing humans for a while, I've never been good at imitating them.
You're not wrong. It's always been painfully obvious whenever you try to pass as Catherine.
If it was at all possible, I would have preferred to leave these people alone. But seeing how things are now, I probably should just accept it and push on.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up over it. We're only doing this to help everyone, and we'll only be borrowing them for a little while anyway.
All right, then let's give it a go tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, here she comes. Satori's here.
Let's quietly follow her. Once she starts talking to her acquaintances, we'll find a safe spot to begin possessing them. As for how we'll sway her to our side, I'll leave that to you. I trust you'll know what to say.
Paimon's starting to feel kind of nervous. Okay, let's go. Looks like they've already started talking. Let's find a hiding spot and get started.
That's right. You really can't force anything when it comes to love. And besides, everyone around me has a very different background and outlook. Are you still listening to me, Nabia?
Oh, of course I'm listening. You were talking about troubles with your love life, right? I heard everything you said.
Okay then. You just seemed a little distracted for a moment there. Strange. Your cats seem pretty worked up. Is something wrong? I always thought they were quiet, happy kitties. Oh, what are their names again? Ah, that's right. They are just little darlings, aren't they? Harut and Marut.
So, which fortune do you want me to read for you today? You must have come for another echo of the divine voice of wisdom.
I'd like to get another reading on my love prospects, but to be perfectly honest with you, I feel like I've been a real mess recently.
A mess?
Well, could you do a reading on how long it'll take me to finish my current project at work? I really just want to get it over with.
I hear you. No problem at all. The gods will reveal the truth. The gods are asking, Sataria, why haven't you gone home?
Why haven't I gone home? Do the gods really know everything I've been thinking about?
Sataria, why don't you just go home? It's a demand now instead of a question. The gods seem to be truly upset.
I'm sorry. I know I failed the gods. Please pass on my most sincere apologies and ask for their divine forgiveness. And if I may ask, Nabia, is there a specific god who's speaking to you right now?
What an inconsiderate and naive question. The god who is speaking to me is, of course, the wisest and mightiest of all, the Scarlet King.
The Scarlet King? No wonder he would make such a demand of me. Oh, wait a second. The Scarlet King passed away a long time ago. Even though news of the Scarlet King's resurrection has been spreading like wildfire, it's all just a misinformation campaign from the academia. How can the Scarlet King still exist in real life?
What insolence! I am the Scarlet King's most loyal believer. Do you wish to refute his voice of wisdom?
Oh, no. As a child of the desert, I am only reveling in his power upon learning that his divine glory has touched even this city. I will think very carefully about his demand of me. I'm sorry. I must go now.
Wait!
Ooh, she just ran off in a hurry. She looked pretty upset, too.
Well done. Sataria didn't seem to suspect anything amiss. To have something she's been trying desperately to avoid show up out of nowhere and berate her, that must have shaken her to the core.
Aw, Nahida, it seems like you understand human emotions really well after all.
All I know are some abstract Harvard-taught theories. And in any case, my time with you has shown a lot of them to be utterly useless. I'm still trying to make sense of everything. Anyway, enough of that. Let's hurry and catch up to Sataria.
It's okay. I just got caught up in something. Oh, actually, didn't you ask me to help you look for work? What kind of work were you looking for again? Oh, right. Your old man's craft. How could I forget? Speaking of, how's he doing? Is he feeling any better? Huh? Wasn't he nursing a leg injury? If I recall correctly, his strong arms had always been his pride and joy.
Oopsies. Wrong answer.
He sprained his arm a while back while trying to show off his strength. I thought you'd heard.
Actually, while we're talking about him, is he still living in Port Ormos?
Yeah, he's been retired there for a while.
If you could find the time, please write him a letter. Please pass on that recently, faith in the Scarlet King has taken root in Port Ormos and has begun to spread across Sumeru. He has a quick temper and has always been a devout follower of the Sumeru Archon. I don't want him to get into a fight with those Scarlet King believers because of a difference in beliefs.
Oh? So who are you siding with in all of this? The Academia or the Scarlet King? I'm so jealous of you. You were born a child of the desert, yet you chose to betray the Scarlet King, and now you spend all your time with those crooks from the Academia.
Akeem, you don't mean you've also become a believer of the Scarlet King?
What's so strange about becoming a believer of the wise Scarlet King? In fact, aren't you the strange one? The one who still can't pick a side?
Can't pick a side? Me?
Whoa! Paimon had no idea you'd be so good at this.
You really zeroed in on the issue and put it right in front of her. It might feel a bit overwhelming for Sataria, but once everything is over, I'll be sure to pay her a visit to her mind and explain everything. Anyway, let's keep going.
So, Shishan, have you noticed anything weird in the city lately? Like, as if someone was trying to preach to you about something?
Oh, right. Speaking of strange things, I celebrated the Sub-Zerus festival so many times that I lost count. That was really weird.
Wait, how could you be aware of that? That should be impossible. Nothing in the report indicated anything like that.
Are you still failing to realize that the Academia's lowly tricks could never deceive all of Sumeru's citizens?
Shishan, don't tell me that you've converted to the Scarlet King as well!
What an absurd question. You make it sound like I should be ashamed for becoming a believer of the Scarlet King. In reality, shouldn't you be the one who is ashamed? You, who works side by side with the Academia and treated people as nothing more than experimental subjects.
Please, please stop!
Even now, Sataria's still trying to run from her problems.
She can no longer justify everything to herself.
Hey, she's trying to talk to the guards. What should we do?
This is the most important part of all. Quick, get ready.
Mercenary, you're a member of the Corps of 30, correct? Please help me pass a message to the Matcha right away. The situation in the city is getting out of control.
Please, try to remain calm, miss. Tell me what's happening in the city.
Heretics are infiltrating the city, and they've already converted many residents to their side.
Heretics? What kind of heresy are you talking about?
The Scarlet King! Many people I know have suddenly started believing in him, but he's long dead. It's impossible.
Miss Sataria, nothing is impossible.
You know my name?
The Scarlet King is immortal, and all who defy him will one day pay the price. You must face the truth, Sataria. You tread a treacherous path, and the longer you ignore it, the tighter the Academia's grasp on you will become, and the deeper you will be ensnared. Child of the Scarlet King, never forget that the desert that belongs to you lies elsewhere.
What's so strange about becoming a believer of the wise Scarlet King? In fact, aren't you the strange one? The one who still can't pick a side?
What an absurd question. You make it sound like I should be ashamed for becoming a believer of the Scarlet King.
Setaria, why haven't you gone home?
It seems that no matter where I run, I only keep finding more believers of the Scarlet King. I have to say, this is a familiar feeling. I've also been running from my guilt this whole time. Guilt over my part in the Sage's plans, and from ignoring the letters from the children of my homeland. But no matter how much I may try to ignore or get rid of it, my guilt always comes back.
You won't necessarily lose your research opportunities by facing the truth. Besides, did you really want to conduct your research while carrying such heavy feelings of guilt?
How do you know me so well? Are you truly just a believer of the Scarlet King? Or are you the god himself?
That's not important. The important thing is to pass judgment on the Academia and its sages, and to correct their mistakes. If you could provide some assistance in this matter, perhaps it could serve as a form of atonement.
I've actually never believed in the gods, but I've always believed in serendipity. Your appearance must be a fated opportunity for me to get out of this wretched situation. Please tell me, what can I do for you?
How much do you know about the sage's current activities?
I was just one of the designers for the masked dream harvest scheme, which is what happened around the Sumeru's festival. But I know very little about the full scope of the overall project. I'd assume that only staff with the highest clearance would have access to those confidential documents. I've just been working to meet the Grand Sage's specified requirements. However, there's something that's been really bothering me. I heard that a scholar who was previously expelled has returned to the city, and even the sages are still quite wary of him.
To fight against the Academia, we will need to figure out the nature and the purpose of their work. Is there a way for us to get access to the confidential documents you mentioned?
It should be possible if we're willing to take some risks. After all, I'm an assistant to the Grand Sage, and I've been working on many tasks outside of the project. One thing, though, I won't be able to transfer the documents to you through the Akasha once I get my hands on them. The sages have always closely monitored all activities within the Akasha. Let me see. Let's use the most primitive method. Send someone to pick up the documents tomorrow evening at the Academia entrance.
The Academia entrance. Wouldn't that be too conspicuous?
Don't worry about that. I assure you, this won't be a trap. I'm only suggesting this location because it'll draw more scrutiny for me to leave the Academia again. It'll be safest for me to distract the guards long enough to hand you the documents.
All right, I trust you.
So, if I were to successfully complete this task, would it mean I've atoned for my wrongdoings?
That'll depend on the judgment of the Dendro Archon.
The Dendro Archon. That's right. Her people are the ones we have endangered. As the god of wisdom, she's also the one responsible for judging and guiding the scholars. Maybe it's time for me to find a god to believe in.
Just as Nahida predicted, we've managed to bring Setaria to our side.
The Traveler's execution was ingenious. She's the one who deserves all the praise. Well, now that we've made plans to meet again tomorrow evening, all we can do is pray for Setaria's mission to go off without a hitch.
Pray? But if we're going to pray to the gods, aren't we just praying to you? God of wisdom and guardian of the scholars?
No. The truth is the true guardian of scholars. I've always believed that. Anyway, let's meet again tomorrow evening at the Adventurers Guild.
other Catherine, right?
That's right. I suppose I'm the other Catherine in your mind.
Shh! We're on a secret mission tonight, so we need to protect Catherine's identity.
Yep, Paimon's right. We cannot fully rule out the chance that the meetup tonight is just a trap. If something were to happen, my existence may be the only trump card we'll be able to play. After all, the academia should still be unable to confirm the existence of my consciousness in the outside world.
Yep, exactly. Just what Paimon was thinking.
I somehow doubt that.
Anyway, enough about that. Let's just make sure to be on our guard.
Don't you feel like something is off?
Off? What do you feel is off?
It's just a little too quiet around here. Oh no.
It's the middle of the night. Of course it's quiet. You're not getting paranoid, are you?
No, I think she's right. It really is a lot quieter than usual. If you look around, there seems to be fewer people on the streets. I'm not sure if this is the case for the entire city, though.
Huh. Maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe Sataria figured out a way to not only distract the guards, but also to get everyone to go to sleep early, just so we can exchange the documents in peace.
I also can't quite figure out why things feel a little off. But now that we're here, let's go ahead and meet her as we planned.
Well, regardless, as long as you're here with us, Paimon feels a little safer.
What are all these people doing here at this hour of the night?
Ah, the triumphant hero returns at last. And to a rather spectacular welcome, even if I do say so myself.
You're the outcast, expelled from the academia.
Indeed I am. Although these days they tend to call me the Doctor. If you're looking for your researcher friend, she has already been taken into confinement. With some basic caution, she could have discovered the listening device on her person. Clearly, she lacks the degree of rigor expected of a true scholar.
The people of Sumeru City. What have you done to them?
I simply made some minor adjustments to their Akasha terminals. Now they can deposit information directly into the subconscious. As you can see, all these lovely people now believe this traveler is a hero who has just saved the world. My experiment is a success. And now it seems they can no longer hold back their sheer adoration.
No, what should we do? These are all just regular people. Leave now. You need to get out of here.
But that guy's a Fatui Harbinger! We can't just leave you here!
Nor can I abandon the people of Sumeru! Don't worry. We'll meet again outside of the city.
I see. You appear to have overridden their mental faculties with your own consciousness. To possess such a powerful mind, you must be the god of wisdom.
This should be far enough. Whew. Paimon needs to catch her breath first. Is Nahida going to be okay? We only made it out because of her.
She can jump between minds. Hopefully she'll be fine.
Paimon wasn't counting on running into a new Harbinger here, let alone such a high-ranking one. That guy was number 2. So scary. about him. Sataria did say that someone who once got expelled from the academia came back recently, and that even the sages are wary of him. Yep, sounds like she must have been talking about the doctor.
We underestimated the scale of this problem.
Yeah, now that the doctor's in the picture, we're no longer just dealing with the academia. They're in cahoots with the Fatui. But what are the Fatui after this time? Another Gnosis?
We need to find a way to reunite with Nahida.
Yeah, things would be a lot easier with Nahida's help. Nahida said we'll meet again outside of the city. But we can't just keep waiting around, right?
Let's go find someone else who might be involved.
You mean?
Let's go find Tignari.
Oh, right! Wasn't he invited by the sages to work on some project when we were staying with him in the Avidia Forest? That has to be the same project. Even though he turned it down at the time, he might still know something. There's no time to lose. Let's go to Good...
Hold it right there.
Bruh.
A blonde-haired traveler and a floating fairy.
Floating baby.
We've got you, all right. Take a look around. You've fallen right into our trap.
Are you mercenaries from the Corps of 30? Did you come here to arrest us?
Corps of 30? We're nothing like those government lapdogs who don't even get scraps for their work. We are an elite brigade that commands the highest commission rate in all of Sumeru. We're here on the orders of a client known only as the Outcast.
The Outcast? An outcast from the academia?
Sounds like the doctor.
But why wouldn't the doctor just send the Fatui after us?
Still wasting time on idle chit-chat. We'll shut you up soon enough. Get them!
You're up, traveler!
Following orders. Worthless! Take my leave.
That was pretty rough. Is that what elite mercenaries are like?
It probably won't be long before we see more of them.
Yeah, looks like we'll have to keep our guards up. But this doctor guy seems like a pretty tough opponent. He knew exactly where to set up an ambush. Did he predict that we would try to find Tighnari? Going up against smart people is tough. Anyway, let's keep going.
Oh, it's the Traveler and Paimon. What are you two doing back here?
Kale, it's nice to see you again. Are you doing all right?
To be honest, I'm not doing too well. My Elazar has been progressing at a faster rate lately. I'm finding it harder to complete more intricate tasks. As a result, Master Tighnari is taking me off the patrol schedule. He will only allow me to stay here and coordinate other people's tasks.
Oh, Kale.
It only seems that curing airman souls are only chance.
Speaking of Tighnari, did he go off on patrol? We're here to talk to him.
Oh, Master Tighnari? He just left the Avidia Forest a little while ago. He was headed to Party's Yae.
He left? What? Isn't Tighnari always saying that he never wants to leave the Avidia Forest? He even turned down the sage's invitation.
I thought it was weird too.
Oh no.
Master Tighnari always prioritizes his work as a forest watcher above everything. He almost never leaves his post. He left in a hurry this time, though.
Didn't give a reason.
No, I only found out that he left through a message he left behind. He also made sure to delegate all his tasks using a schedule. To leave in such a hurry? I'd guess he had something urgent to take care of. Master Tighnari originally studied in the Amorta Darshan of the Academia, and Partis Yae is something like the Amorta's research base. Many rare shrubs and grasses have been planted there for research. I know that before he became a forest watcher, Master Tighnari once spent a long time conducting research at Partis Yae.
A research base, huh? Gotta wonder what kind of research Tighnari just decided to work on all of a sudden. Oh, we don't have a lot of time, so let's go look for him at Partis Yae.
Please take care of yourself, Kale.
Don't worry. I'm fine. I'm used to living with Elazar by now. If you run into Master Tighnari, please send him my regards.
Got it. Will do. See you later, Kale. you're okay. We were so worried about you.
You are Nahida, right?
Hey, this was supposed to be a touching reunion, but you're ruining the moment.
Actually, it's very smart of the Traveler to be wary of me right now. After all, the doctor has shown that his technology can apparently even control human minds. Plus, it's not like you could have known what happened after we split up and I was facing the doctor by myself. Even a pool of stagnant water after a torrential storm can occasionally pass as a patch of sky.
Paimon feels like only the real Nahida could come up with such an obscure analogy.
I believe you.
Huh? But I wasn't trying to win your trust or anything. All I wanted was to clarify my point.
Well, we understand that point now. Please, Nahida, tell us more about what happened. Are those poor people all right?
When you left, I was still in the middle of restoring everyone's minds. Thankfully, when the doctor mentioned depositing information into the subconscious, he didn't mean engraving information into their minds. Instead, he did something closer to creating hallucinations. That was still within my power to fix. Luckily, I managed to finish my restorations and mind jump away from him just as he was about to capture me.
What a relief. The doctor sure pulled out some hidden cards, but good thing we had Nahida with us.
I wouldn't be relieved just yet. I gave away my true identity when I restored everyone's minds, which means we've lost another one of our trump cards. Also, the doctor is already an expert at modifying Akasha terminals. Maybe it's only a matter of time until he captures my consciousness inside the Akasha.
Would that mean you'd no longer be able to jump between minds? Then how do we stop him? He's still at the academia, so it's possible he already started messing with the Akasha.
We need to hurry.
Ugh, it feels like he's toying with us. What a nasty piece of work. Plus, the doctor's combat ability alone is apparently enough to make him worthy of being number 2 of the Fatui.
We shouldn't give up hope just yet. Let's try to find another way to attack this problem.
Actually, Nahida, how did you know we were trying to get to Party's DI? Have you been waiting for us?
Yes, I have. I can see the Traveler's elemental energy, so I deduced your destination by looking at the direction you were moving in. You didn't come here for sightseeing, right? Did you find any leads?
We're looking for a scholar we know. His name is Tainari, and the sages once tried to reach out to him. Why don't you come inside with us and see what we can find?
Okay. Let's just hope we won't get him into trouble.
Traveler? It is you!
Ah, the voice! It's Hypatia!
Long time no see.
Ah, what a pleasant surprise! It's so nice to see the two of you again.
Who's this?
She's a scholar we met in the Avidia Forest. When we last saw each other, she was still training in the, what's it called? Satyavada life?
Oh, I see.
That's right, we're old friends. You've come at just the right time. Ever since I've come here, hardly anyone has even talked to me.
Hypatia, you're way too excited about this. Actually, for you to leave the Avidia Forest means... you're not in training anymore? Wait, no. Did you already finish your training and reach Pariporna life?
What do you think?
She looks so proud.
My consciousness has already managed to make contact with the divine.
You did it? Congratulations!
It's so exhilarating to share this sublime joy with others at long last. When my consciousness made contact with the gods. Ah, what a supreme and unparalleled experience that was.
That sounds incredible!
Actually, we're here for Tainari.
Oh, all right. Actually, please wait. I haven't forgotten my promise to you. Remember? I promised to help you understand what you saw from Irminsul once I gained deeper insights. My current self has not only gained true insight, but I can even help you establish a direct connection to the consciousness of the divine.
You can do that?
I've never heard of anything like that, but if you want to give it a try, I'll do my best to protect your consciousness during the process.
Hold on. I brought some spirit borneo with me. This is still a crucial part of the ceremony.
We're using that incense again?
All right now. Hold my hand. I'll help you establish a pathway to connect your consciousness.
Okay.
Ready?
It took 3 betrayals for me to finally understand. The world is just an elaborate tapestry of lies. My fury will never be quelled. The first to betray me was a god. My creator. My mother. Valuing strength above all, she saw no worth in me and I was discarded. The second was a human. My family. My friend. Consumed by fear, he saw me as an abomination. The third was one exactly like me. A hope for the future. A fledgling barely out of the nest. Powerless before his mortality, he broke his promise to me. Humans, they can't be trusted. And the gods fill me with pure loathing. So I said good riddance. I denounced the world and laugh in its face. My chest will never again be defiled by worldly filth. I will scrub away every last trace of human emotion. Then it will be empty, a blank slate, and ready to receive a supreme gnosis, brimming with pure divinity. There is no need to fear. The pain will be brief. Your era is coming to an end.
What was that? Did we actually just see the Balladier's memories? Everything matches what we know about him. But how is he connected to the divine consciousness that Hypatia was talking about?
You saw it, right? You felt it, right? Such a majestic god! Such a noble will! Such sublime emotion!
Oh no, never mind. She was brainwashed.
Alas, shame. If only that which beats within my chest wasn't a filthy mortal heart. Oh, great and merciful God! Please grant me forgiveness and salvation!
Do you understand now? I'm afraid this is no periporno life, but rather...
Wake up, Hypatia.
You! Why are you so mean to me? Why is everyone hiding from me? I found divine wisdom. Shouldn't I receive praise and honor? Haven't I uncovered that light in the darkness?
Hypatia?
That's how I always thought everything should be. Wait, have I already lost my mind?
Yep.
Wait, something isn't right.
different. You're back!
Oh, the Traveler's back?
Nahida was controlling your body for a while. It seemed like she jumped over to you as an emergency measure right before the Catherine puppet was destroyed. After that, Tainari heard the commotion and came over. He helped us defeat the mercenaries and then he ran with us all the way here. What? You swapped places? You mean your consciousness also went into Nahida's body? Wait, then where is Nahida's consciousness? Where is she now?
I never imagined that an individual's consciousness could be transferred around like this. Had I not seen it with my own eyes, I would have never believed it. I don't think this can be achieved with current human technology. Also, while we were running, the consciousness in your body told me to pass on a message. She said, "The doctor has found a way to trap my consciousness, so I can't journey with you anymore. But even in a moonless night, a shower of starlight can still drown out illusions and lies."
Oh no! Nahida's trapped in the sanctuary of Suristhana for good this time. Was that message all she left for us? It's pretty vague. Oh, that makes sense. Since the doctor captured her, she won't be able to say anything without him knowing. She's being extra careful. Even in a moonless night, a shower of starlight can still drown out illusions and lies. Huh. Paimon knows the moon illusions and lies are from the alchemical divination at the Sub-Zero's festival. Didn't Nahida use a starlight analogy before? It had something to do with Sataria. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Huh. Do you think Nahida was telling us to go find help in the desert? But she isn't with us anymore. Think we'll be okay?
Paimon, you said Sanctuary of Suristhana. Does this mean that this Nahida you're talking about, the consciousness who is occupying the traveler's body, is the Dendro Archon?
Your guess is correct, but the situation's a bit complicated, so it's really hard for us to explain right now.
That's all right. A scholar's curiosity doesn't need to be appeased right away. As for the complicated nature of the situation, safe to say I have witnessed that for myself. I've spent some time with you, and it looks like the Dendro Archon's also on your side, so I trust you.
Thank you, Tainari. Oh, actually, we came here to ask you a question. What do you know about the project that the sages have been working on?
Ah, that. While I was indeed invited to join that project, the sages were always secretive about its scope and goals, so I eventually declined. All I know is that that project has something to do with the restoration of Irminsul.
Huh? Did you see something when you were in Nahida's body?
The academia is turning the balladeer into a god.
What?
Do you have any evidence? So that's what happened. That explains why Hypatia's symptoms were different from those of the other scholars who went mad. It's because she made contact with the consciousness of a new god who is still in the process of being born.
Tainari, did you leave the Avidia Forest because of Hypatia?
I did. I noticed Hypatia's mental anomalies, but since her symptoms were rather atypical, I secretly took her to Pardis Dii and began searching for a way to return her to her normal self. If I didn't take action, Hypatia would have already been taken by the Matra to the desert, doomed to a life of exile at Aru village. Now that you mention it, I knew the Academia has never thought particularly highly of Lesser Lord Kusanali, but I still didn't expect them to do something as arrogant as creating a new god. Looks like I made the right decision by not accepting their invitation. The Doctor and the Balladeer. We have 2 Fatui Harbingers in Sumeru. Sounds like we're in for a bad time. From your description, I don't think they've completed their project. There may still be room for us to intervene. But then, what is the connection between creating a new god and restoring Irminsul?
Yeah, it feels like we're still nowhere close to figuring out the sage's goals. Right. We've pretty much gone over everything we need to know, so we should head out. How about you, Tighnari? What are you going to do?
I'll stay here for now. I still want to try a few more things to help Hypatia. If you're planning to go into the desert, start by heading for Caravan Rabat. That'll be your fastest route. Come find me here if there's anything else I can do to help. May the spirit of wisdom go with you.
Thanks, Tighnari. Hopefully Hypatia will feel better soon. We're off then. We finally made it to Caravan Rabat. It's pretty lively here. So, just past this wall is the desert, huh? Oh, wow. Paimon remembers hearing people call this the Wall of Samiel. It's made to block sandstorms from the outside. Oh, if it's this tall, it's gotta be the divine work of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata, right?
Enough gawking. Come on, follow me.
Enough gawking, we said.
Huh?
Over here.
What the? Where did she go? How did we lose them? They were just here a second ago.
More Eremite mercenaries? Who are they working for this time? Anyway, Traveler, it seems like we were being followed again.
You were too careless. You should have noticed those hopeless amateurs trailing you a long time ago. There's no need to thank me. I've never cared to keep track of personal favors. All I did was correct a mistake I happened to come across. It's a habit I developed at the academia.
You really gave Paimon a scare, Alhaitham. We never thought we'd run into you here. Last time we met at Port Ormos, didn't you say you were going back to the academia? Wait, don't tell Paimon that you're here to take us back on their orders.
Oh, so you've already landed yourselves on the academia's hit list. I can't say that I didn't expect it. However, had I wished to turn you over to the academia, don't you think you'd already be the Eremites' honored guests by now?
Oh, right. You do have a point.
I have no interest in running errands for that project. As a scholar, I've always belonged to the camp that promotes researcher autonomy. And these days, you're more fascinating than anything the sages can offer. Not quite. To tell you the truth, I'm still investigating the Divine Knowledge Capsule. Unfortunately, I've run into some difficulties. Everyone says the capsule originated in the desert and was eventually moved to Port Ormos. If I am to get to the bottom of this, I must understand how the capsule first came to be. Which brings me back to you and why you're so interesting. The leader of Ain al-Ahmar used the Divine Knowledge Capsule right in front of you. And upon seeing him, your expression became perplexed, and you were lost in thought for quite some time. To have that kind of reaction, I think you must have realized something. Are you interested at all in sharing what you've been hiding from me?
Alhaitham, you really have a ridiculous eye for detail. What kind of person even notices or remembers stuff like that?
So that's your answer. Well, I do work for the academia after all. So considering that, it is indeed wise to keep your cards close to your chest. But that does prove you do have some undisclosed information about the Divine Knowledge Capsule. Am I right? No matter. Rather than simply learning the answers from you, I'd still prefer to investigate on my own. Speaking of, you two are also headed to the desert?
That's right! We have the same plan as you! But we don't really have any concrete goals at the moment.
Then I'd suggest starting with Aru Village. It's the largest settlement in the desert, so it'll probably have more resources and intel than anywhere else. Well, would you like to head there together?
It's always better to travel with someone you know. Let's go!
Before us lies Aru Village, the safe haven of the desert folk.
Whoa, This landscape is really something else. What a cool place! Let's go check it out!
Sino. Unless my memory fails me, we have barely spoken 2 words to each other before now at the Academia. Would you care to enlighten me as to when and how I invited the General Mahamatra's wrath?
Oh, Hatham. Do not think you can escape my judgment just because you managed to escape my attack.
Judgment? So that's how you'd characterize your actions here, is it? Or would elimination perhaps be a more accurate description?
Had I used my full strength, not even this traveler would have been able to stop me. Though styled like an assassination, I sought only to ensure that my target would be unable to flee or resist. Standard practice for the Matra, as well you know.
Seemed to me more like your own personal touch.
Who is that, Alhaitham? Did you call him General Mahamatra?
Yes. General Mahamatra Sino, head of all the Matra at the Academia. He's a formidable hunter, and the ultimate nightmare for any who have committed academic crimes.
You seem to have placed a lot of trust in Alhaitham, to the point of blocking an attack for him. If I were you, I'd never choose to side with him. I wouldn't believe a single word that comes out of his mouth. I have been pursuing this scribe for a long time. I urge you, stand back and do not seek to defend him any longer. Otherwise, there will be consequences.
Has Alhaitham done something wrong? Paimon doesn't think he's as bad as you've made him out to be.
I won't waste my breath explaining things. Alhaitham, I saw it during our fight. Take it out. The divine knowledge capsule you're hiding on your person. Unless you want me to retrieve it for myself.
Very perceptive of you. Nothing escapes a Matra's senses.
Wait, the divine knowledge capsule? Didn't it fall into the Matra's hands in Port Ormos?
So you did lie to us.
No wonder you speak with such confidence, Sino. But I must admit, I'm very curious. What does this capsule mean to you? And why, as General Mahamatra of the Academia, are you all alone in the desert? As far as I'm aware, the other Matra have been speculating about your disappearance. Have you been given a mission that's, let's say, morally dubious? If I was the real target of your mission, what was stopping you from simply using your authority and resources to judge me within the walls of the Academia?
I should have known you'd be difficult to deal with.
You two? Ugh! What you would do, Traveler? Paimon feels like we can't trust either of them.
Paimon is so stressed out.
Ahem. Well, look at you two, acting all tough and self-righteous over there.
Yay, Dia. Come back me up.
Wait, Dia?
Help me, Dia.
Great! Finally, someone that we can trust! You gotta help us out here. Otherwise, these two are gonna start fighting again!
Yeah, sure looks that way. 2 giants from the Academia duking it out once and for all. Not something you get to see every day, that's for sure. Listen, I know you academic types love to fill up your big brains with self-righteous morality and lord your empty rules and virtues over each other. But how dare you bring your petty disputes into the safe haven of Aru Village? It seems like someone's gonna have to beat some sense into your thick skulls until you finally learn to respect these grounds. Hey, did either of you hear a word I just said?
Whoa, what's going on? The wind's so strong. Is this a sandstorm? Paimon's gonna get blown away.
Another sandstorm? What's up with these recently?
Hey! All of you, over here, quickly! We have to take cover.
Candace!
Someone's calling for us. Oh, this wind is too strong. Let's get over there.
Damn, the team up though, the 4 of them.
That sounded like Candace. Come on, you two. Jeez, are all of you academia folks such hard work? Move it!
All right, stop yelling.
What the heck? This is awkward.
Well, this is pretty awkward. Hey, want to play sardines with 3 people who want to tear each other limb from limb? Sure, why not? Sounds fun. The air is so thick and heavy. Paimon can hardly keep floating anymore.
My sincere apologies, everyone. This is the home of our village chief. I will have to ask you to make do with this small room until the sandstorm dies down. Please, let me introduce myself. I am Candace, protector of Aru Village.
Our savior has come at last. Nice to meet you, Candace. The name's Paimon. Thank you so much for helping us.
There's no need to thank me. It's only right to help each other when the weather gets rough.
Wow, she's so gentle and caring, like a nice older sister. Unlike those guys over there.
All right. Now that we're all better acquainted, we should return to the topic at hand. As a guardian charged with the responsibility to protect my fellow villagers from harm, I was observing your conflict from afar, even before the sandstorm started. And now that you have set foot within our village itself, it is all the more my responsibility to make absolutely sure that you pose no threat whatsoever to us. So please, have an honest and sincere conversation with one another, and put your hostile feelings to rest. If anyone dares to start anything again while they are under this roof, I will not hesitate to send them out for some quality time with the creatures of the sandstorm.
Oh, on second thought, Paimon may have misjudged Candace's character.
And that goes for you too, Miss Dia. Do I make myself clear?
All right, we got it, Candace.
That's what I like to hear. So, which of you will begin?
I was supposed to be a mediator, but I might have gotten a little too involved just now. Anyway, one of those two should probably start talking.
Wait, that was you trying to be a mediator?
I have nothing to hide, so there's no shame in explaining myself. While Alhaitham wasn't wrong about the other Matra not knowing my whereabouts, it's not because I've been assigned a morally dubious mission. Rather, I've chosen to exile myself.
Huh? Exile yourself?
A little while ago, I discovered that there was data missing in the Academia's project planning and development files. What little they did report clearly did not match the project's actual progress. As General Mahamatra, I had the responsibility and authority to request an audit. However, to my surprise, the person responsible for the erroneous data was none other than Grand Sage Azar himself. I tried to investigate the issue myself before submitting a formal audit request, but I soon found that all leads and potential pieces of incriminating evidence were carefully concealed from me. I began to realize that they were cautious of me from the very beginning. Unsurprisingly, the Grand Sage rejected my audit request as soon as the submission reached his desk. He even said to me, "The power of the General Mahamatra is granted by the sages. You have no right to judge us."
So they really are up to no good.
I realized then that to the Grand Sage, the Matra are nothing more than tools for the sages to assert and maintain their control over knowledge. The vows that we took, the principles that we strive to uphold, They are meaningless to the academia of today. I believed it would be wise to flee the academia before the sages had a chance to take action against me. This way, they can no longer see nor predict my actions. I will never give up on this investigation. There's no need for someone else to give me power or authority. Once I find the truth, I will administer judgment by my own name.
Sino seems to have the same goal as us. We're all investigating the sages. Plus, now that he's no longer the General Mahamatra, he somehow feels a lot less scary. Well, Sino, if that's your story, then why did you see Alhaitham as a target?
When I was investigating the matter in the academia, I overheard a conversation between Alhaitham and a sage. The sages asked you to investigate a blonde-haired traveler. Do you dispute this, Alhaitham?
What?
Like many parts of the project, this assignment was undocumented. Now throw in your suspicious behavior with the Divine Knowledge Capsule, and I think we deserve an explanation.
Yes. I was indeed tasked with investigating the Traveler.
Alhaitham!
After all, the promised reward was so great that hardly any scholar could have refused. The sage told me, once you've completed this assignment, I can give you a glimpse of divine knowledge.
A most enticing offer.
Unfortunately, those academics don't know me at all. Their words contained one key piece of information, namely that divine knowledge indeed exists. That gave me all I needed to know. From my perspective, the sages are far from trustworthy. Think about it. Isn't it a little strange they're so willing to share divine knowledge with anyone, even as a reward? So, I began my own investigation following the lead of the Divine Knowledge Capsule. In the end, I realized my wisdom in committing to this rather than collaborating with the sages. Had I been less guarded, I probably would have ended up like that Ain al-Ahmar mercenary, incapable of remaining sane for long enough to hold a conversation.
You mean that the sages originally planned to dispose of you, using one of those capsules that drive people insane?
I'd already given up on the assignment by then. I only told the academia I was waiting in Port Ormos for you to appear so they wouldn't suspect anything. So it came as quite a surprise when I encountered my erstwhile target while investigating the Divine Knowledge Capsule.
Criminals do love to talk about coincidences.
Even though I ran into the Traveler by chance, I had no intention of providing assistance to the academia. Also, you should remember, you were the ones who decided to follow me and strike up a conversation after I left that tavern.
That's true. Alhaitham helped us out at Caravan Rebat as well. Maybe he's telling the truth.
I'm willing to apologize, if that's worth anything to you. I took the Divine Knowledge Capsule behind your back because I judged its existence to be a significant risk. I felt that it would be best for no one to interact with it before it had been properly studied. After all, curiosity often proves to be the most dangerous thing in this land.
You should be well aware, Scribe Alhaitham, that curiosity can also lead you to danger and suspicion. Answer me this. Did the sages share any information about their project with you?
Have I not made myself clear? You and I are both distrusted by the academia. Do you really think they would tell me anything?
Fine. Although you haven't completely proven your innocence, I won't regard you as an enemy, for now.
As you wish.
Good. I'm glad to see you two clearing up your misunderstandings. And now you, Dia. I believe it's your turn.
Oh, sorry. Whatever the boys were talking about must have been so boring that I spaced out. My situation is pretty straightforward. My employer, Dunyarzad of the Homayani family, is friends with the Traveler and is currently recovering from her illness at home. I had nothing going on, so I decided to return to Aru village for a visit. I was actually looking forward to a pretty exciting time getting back together with everyone here. But then I saw these two random guys in the middle of a pointless argument. It ticked me off, and things went downhill from there.
Is that all? Well, I will admit that definitely sounds like your style. In that case, welcome back, Dia.
That's more like it. I missed you all so much, Candace.
Whoa! What was that sound?
No need to worry. Now that you're no longer at each other's throats, please make yourselves at home. I'll take a quick trip outside to clear out some of those creatures in the sandstorm.
Creatures? In the sandstorm? Are you sure you don't want some backup?
Fighting in a sandstorm is not for the faint-hearted. Anyone without extensive training in these conditions is at a disadvantage. You needn't worry.
Yeah, just leave him to Candace. Don't worry, she's as tough as they come.
The wind's died down. That means the sandstorm's over, right? Candace still isn't back yet, though. Is she alright? Maybe we should go out and check on her.
When you put it that way, even I'm starting to feel a little worried. All right, let's go. We've been here long enough, and the boys are as chatty as the floor.
Whew. Candace, you're still fighting? You've been out here dealing with these creatures the entire time?
Yes. They just keep coming in waves. I've lost count of how many I've defeated. Before I realized it, even the sandstorm had stopped.
Ah! Here comes another wave!
Leave this round to us. I got interrupted earlier, but now I have something to take my anger out on.
It's been quite a while since I've seen the Flame Mane in action. I'll leave these to you then.
I'll be sure to put on a good show. Let's go!
The creature stopped appearing. Was that the last of them?
What we fought just now was probably the aftermath of the sandstorm. So we should be safe for the time being.
Well fought, everyone. No injuries, I hope.
Huh? Who are you?
Ah, my apologies. I haven't had a chance to greet you yet. I had my hands full taking care of the village's elderly and children. I am the chief of Aru Village. Everyone usually calls me Uncle Anpu.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Sir, I am also originally from the desert, but I have not been back for some time now. May I ask if such sandstorms are common?
I can't say they've always been common, but recently the storms have become increasingly severe and frequent. Besides sandstorms, we also occasionally get earthquakes. According to an investigator who stayed in the village a while ago, these unusual natural phenomena are related to the withering of Irminsul.
Oh no.
Another effect of Irminsul's withering.
They're all here.
So, Irminsul's withering causes withering zones in the forest, and sandstorms and earthquakes here in the desert?
Everything in the natural world is inextricably connected to Irminsul. These regional symptoms can indeed be a reflection of Irminsul's present state.
Everyone in Aru Village needs to take good care of themselves. Speaking of which, why haven't I seen a single village keeper since I got here?
Village keeper? Who are they? Village guards like Candace?
Does your curiosity know no bounds? Village Keeper is how Aru Village refers to mad scholars exiled here by the academia.
Oh.
Most of them are scholars who lost their sanity after a period of training in the Avidia forest. The academia believes that their crazed mutterings may have a negative effect on the psyches of other scholars. So, they're forcibly exiled to the desert. Though if you ask me, it's all a boatload of nonsense.
Tignari also brought this up before.
Alas, that's exactly what we've been trying to investigate. One by one, the village keepers have been mysteriously disappearing without a trace. But no one in the village has ever seen them leave. If you're planning to stay around the village for the next few days, I'd appreciate it if you could keep an eye out for them.
I've had encounters with those people in the past. I'll see what I can do to help.
The Matra are the ones responsible for their exile. Now that you're no longer with them, are you trying to alleviate your guilt and atone for your past sins? I'm fascinated by how you think.
Yan na naman sila.
Mock me if you will, But if you are guilty, I will eliminate you, regardless of my position or identity.
Oh, you're the former General Mahamatra. You must be an expert in these kinds of investigations. Thank you for your help.
I'll help too.
Is it because you're reminded of Hypatia? Oh, these poor scholars. First they lose their sanity, now this! We need to help get them back home, safe and sound. But, is it really a good idea to tag along with Sino? You seem like you really don't trust him.
That's why this is a great opportunity to watch him.
I'll be grateful for the assistance. No doubt you will do a better job than some of my former subordinates. Let's start by finding a spot to share what we know so far. Although I've sent myself into exile, I'm still doing essentially the same things as before. Do you still have any questions for me before we start our investigation?
Why do they refer to the mad scholars as village keepers?
One of my former subordinates told me that this title has its origins in a strange incident. The academia has long exiled mad scholars to Aru village. A mysterious phenomenon exists here. When mad scholars first arrive, they are as incoherent and deranged as before. But after spending some time here, they invariably begin to calm down. Initially, the people of Aru village greatly resented having to take in the mad scholars. But a strange incident one night changed that. Aru village was struck by the strongest earthquake in living memory. Seeing buildings on the verge of collapse all around him, the then chief of the village was preparing to take everyone to safety. Suddenly, he noticed a mad scholar crouching in a corner, caressing the ground with his hands. A soft, green light radiated from him, like a divine glow against the backdrop of night. Despite the powerful tremors that ripped through the ground that night, all the houses remained upright, almost as if they had grown roots reaching deep into the ground. In the end, not a single building collapsed, and no one was hurt. After that, the people of Aru village treated the mad scholars with greater kindness, and began to refer to them as the village keepers.
The soft green light? A mad scholar protecting Aru village? What do you make of it, Traveler?
It must have been Nahida's power.
Paimon thinks so too. Actually, Sino, do you know if any of the mad scholars continued to wear their Akasha terminals at Aru village?
In theory, they would continue wearing them so the academia could still monitor their activities. With that said, the main Akasha system would no longer have any interaction with them.
Oh, no wonder! Everything makes sense then! Add in the fact that they calmed down, it was probably Nahida who calmed them.
Damn, Nahida, she's the perfect Archon. You can rely to.
If you are able to draw a conclusion from this one story alone, then it appears you possess much more information than I do. So, what do you make of the story?
That mad scholar's power likely came from Lesser Lord Kusanagi.
Really? Lesser Lord Kusanagi?
What? You don't believe us? Lesser Lord Kusanagi was definitely using the Akasha to give her power to the mad scholars!
No, it's not so much that I don't believe you. I'm just struck by your reasoning. Lesser Lord Kusanagi, the current Dendro Archon, is she really active in Sumeru? The academia has always placed far greater importance on the late Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. They've more or less ignored Lesser Lord Kusanagi, and I've never had any reason to doubt their views. In addition, I've never heard any stories about Lesser Lord Kusanagi and her deeds. To me, she might as well have been a god that never existed.
No way! Nahida definitely exists! She's a... how should Paimon put it? She's a good Archon who's kind and wise. Even if she says weird stuff sometimes.
We saved Sumeru City together in the not-so-distant past.
I've spent many years interrogating criminals, so I can easily tell when someone is lying.
Good! Good! Then you should know that we're telling the truth.
That look in your eyes. I've never seen that from a liar. You two really must have met Lesser Lord Kusanali. How can this be? To think, our Archon has been amongst us this entire time.
All right, now it's our turn to put our skills to good use for this investigation. But easier said than done, especially since we don't have any leads. Maybe we can start by knocking on some doors.
Excuse me, are you here to help me find my grandpa?
Huh? Who are you?
By the sounds of it, a resident of this village.
My name is Isak. You'll help me find my grandpa, right?
Is your grandpa a mad scholar?
Hey, don't say that. Grandpa is just Grandpa. Why do you have to call him that? It's not like he's a bad person or anything.
The person you're referring to is not a local, yet you are. Why do you call him Grandpa?
Grandpa is just Grandpa. He's my family. I heard everything you said to the village chief. Please, you gotta take me with you. I want to find my grandpa. I swear I'll help. I won't be a nuisance.
Ah, so you're the one who was eavesdropping on us around the village chief's house. I was planning to go out and take care of whoever it was, but I had a vague feeling that they didn't harbor any ill intent.
He sensed that? Wow.
Whoa. Haven wasn't kidding about Matra having sharp senses. Sino, he's just a kid. All he wants is to find his grandpa. Let's find a way to help him.
Sorry. I was only listening in because I wanted to know where Grandpa went. Honest. If you don't believe me, you can ask Miss Candace.
Yeah, please help him.
All right. But first, let's confirm the facts with Candace.
Sino is super vigilant. Is this what all the Matra are like?
Ah, you're back already.
We just wanted to confirm something with you. Do you know a boy by the name of Isak?
I had a feeling he'd go looking for you.
Huh? You knew this would happen?
Yes. Although he tried his best to stay hidden, I still noticed him eavesdropping outside the window. He really wants to get his grandfather back. Isak's parents were both Eremite mercenaries who rarely returned to the village after finding employment in the city. He was raised by his grandfather. Unfortunately, it was only a few years before his grandpa passed away. Isak was still very young at the time, so various families in the village took turns caring for him so he could survive. Later, an elderly mad scholar arrived at the village. Isak thought the scholar bore a striking resemblance to his grandfather, and thus often spied on the man. However, the scholar was unkempt in appearance and incoherent in speech. Although Isak referred to the man as his grandpa, he was afraid and didn't dare to approach him. One summer night, the oft mumbling and bumbling grandpa suddenly calmed down and seemed to become more lucid. He even noticed Isak hiding in the distance. So Grandpa walked up to Isak and patted him on the head. He even took Isak to the entrance of the village, where he patiently taught the boy the names of the stars, and accompanied Isak until he fell asleep. The next morning, Isak woke up and wanted to go find his grandpa again, only to realize his grandpa no longer recognized him. However, even so, Grandpa retained his calm expression.
Was that Nahida again?
It's said that those who saw the scholar claimed he no longer appeared to be crazy, but appeared to be living in his own world, almost as if he were sleepwalking. Isak was thrilled that his grandpa was able to find peace, and would follow him all the time, asking him things like, "Grandpa, want me to take you somewhere fun?" Or, "Grandpa, could you tell me stories about the stars again?"
All this somehow just makes Paimon feel really sad. It seems like they both deserve so much better.
Perhaps. Nearly everyone who lives in the desert has some form of hardship or regret. But even so, we must still continue on with our lives. It's also my reason for fighting. I must continue to protect this land.
Maybe the people have always had a considerate god watching over them.
Huh? What did you say, Sino?
No, nothing. As long as Esau keeps his word and doesn't get in our way, we can take him along.
Perhaps you are more compassionate than I gave you credit for. Please accept my thanks on Isak's behalf, Sino.
Hey, Isak!
Oh, it's you guys!
We've cleared everything up. Let's go find your grandpa.
Really? Wow! Thank you so much!
Your grandpa will be found safe and sound.
Yeah!
All right. Let's ask the local residents some questions first.
Excuse me, did you happen to see where the missing scholars went?
You mean the village keepers? Oh, let me think. When I was eating dinner the other day, I saw one of them by the side of the road, muttering away and eating mushrooms and tree roots. They shouldn't go around eating that kind of stuff.
Okay. Did you notice anything else?
Anything else? No, I think that's all I have to tell you. Sorry.
The scholars that have gone missing, have you seen them?
Those eyes. Those fierce eyes. You look like a real fighter.
Don't change the subject.
Right. You were asking about the mad scholars. I think it's been a few days since I last saw them. I usually go to bed pretty early, so I'm not too familiar with what goes on at night. But honestly, I feel quite sympathetic towards them. Even though they act a little strange, they've helped me in the past. If it weren't for them, my house would have collapsed long ago.
Do you also think Grandpa and the others are good people?
Grandpa? Oh, hello there. It's little Isak. You mean that nice man who looks like your grandpa's long-lost twin, right? He was actually the one who protected my house. I saw it with my own eyes. He happened to be staying near my house that day and was doing something with his hands on the ground. It still feels pretty surreal now that I think back on it. Did someone teach them how to do that? Well, whatever the case, I'll always be thankful to him and whoever taught him to look out for others. I'm pretty sure that if I ever went mad, I wouldn't be able to do anything like that.
Gotcha. Thank you. Sir, have you seen my grandpa recently? You know, the one who likes to sit and space out near the village entrance.
Oh, well, if it isn't Isak. Oh, your grandpa, huh? It's been a while. The last time I saw him, he was spacing out by the road as usual. I went and asked him if he'd like any of the food I had prepared, despite my wife's protests. Like many people, she's really quite terrified of them. And speaking of my wife, she's still always complaining about how I don't make enough mora. Might explain why she's always mad at me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for taking care of him.
It was nothing. You're looking for him, right? Did he go for a walk and get lost?
Yeah.
That's no good. Well, once you found him, come by my place again and I'll cook a little something for the both of you. I've known you since you were very young. So as far as I'm concerned, you're family. Please feel free to come by anytime.
Wow, what a nice guy!
Okay, thank you, sir.
Huh?
What's wrong? Did something happen?
Don't say anything for now. Isak, stay here. Let's head over there. Stay quiet as you move. Listen, see if you can make out what they're saying.
Have you heard? The mighty Scarlet King, the sovereign of our faith, will soon return to this world.
Yes, of course I have.
The Scarlet King is the one and only true ruler of this land. I've never believed in any other gods. Still, you say he's coming back, but it sure doesn't feel like life's about to change around here anytime soon. What's your proof?
Haven't you noticed? The village has been getting more deranged scholars than ever. Delavar was saying that many people also went insane just before the fall of the Scarlet King's civilization in ancient times. We don't quite know why, but it seems like there's some sort of connection between insanity and the Scarlet King. Isn't it a sign of the Scarlet King's power that all the mad scholars have disappeared? If you ask me, they must have been chosen as the final sacrifice for the Scarlet King's resurrection.
What is wrong with these people's minds?
Huh. Now that you say it, that does make some sense.
The heck?
Does this mean our lives are finally going to take a turn for the better?
I think they are even more mad than the mad scholars themselves. Are these normal people out of their minds?
Exactly. Those city folks will get what's coming to them.
What the heck is wrong with their mentality and beliefs?
Now, repeat everything you've just said from the very beginning.
Huh?
Who are you? Where did you come from?
My patience is running thin. You heard what I asked.
He's mad.
Yeah, bro, this guy's something else. Just look at his eyes. One wrong move, and he's gonna flay us alive.
Let's not get on his bad side, okay? I am no match for this guy.
Oh, okay, good sir. What is it you would like to know?
Tell me about the Scarlet King's resurrection.
Well, I only know a few things from hearsay. I went for a drink the other day and heard others talking about a rumor that the madmen will disappear and that the Scarlet King will return to this land. I'm not making this up, I swear!
Hey, go on. Keep talking.
It's true. It's all true, sir. We desert folk have had more than enough of those people at the academia. They keep sending us all their mad scholars and won't let us have a good life. Would you want to live like this if you were in our place? The radicals were even more thrilled than me when they heard the news. We're all praying for the Scarlet King's speedy return.
What the frick? So they see the mad scholars as an inconvenience in their lives.
Delavar also said that once the Scarlet King returns to our side, it's only a matter of time before we conquer the land on the other side of the wall. They're all willing to serve under the Scarlet King and fight for a share of the glory.
Is that so?
Seems like he still wants to know more. Keep talking.
Got it. At first, I told myself it was just the drink talking, but then all the mad scholars vanished without a trace, just as the rumors said. Please don't beat me up just for mentioning these rumors. If I'm guilty, then everyone else around here is also guilty. I'm just saying what the others said.
The people here really like the Scarlet King, but dislike the Dendro Archon.
The academia is probably the true target of their hatred.
Where is this radical person you talked about?
I haven't run into him over the past few days, so he probably hasn't been around the village. What about you, man? Have you seen him at all?
No, not at all. We wouldn't dare lie to you. He's really not here right now.
Sounds like you're not too close with the radicals.
No, of course not. All we know are their names.
I have many ways to stop you from talking. And many others to stop you from sending warning messages. So you'd best just stay home and hope I don't hear of you trying to contact anybody. Don't do anything until I've gotten to the bottom of this. Try something foolish, and even Candace won't be able to protect you.
Yes, got it. We'll do just as you say.
That scared Paimon half to death. Sino is pretty terrifying.
Good thing I'm not one of your enemies.
He didn't try to reassure us at all. It's like he's used to hearing that. Oh, Paimon bets lots of people have told him that before.
All the more reason for you to not get on his bad side.
I heard that.
Sorry.
It's part of being a Matra. The rumor we heard just now seems like a strong lead. But we need to check a few more places.
Maybe you should check the scholars' homes.
Very well.
Isak!
I'm here.
Where's your grandpa's house?
Well, I can take you there. Just follow me. Grandpa, he likes to be alone. Sometimes he stares at the sky in a daze, and other times he just pokes at the ground with his fingers. Every now and then, he yells out at the top of his lungs, so a lot of people are really scared of him. But he's a good person, really. I know he is. I swear, he's just like my real grandpa.
We believe you, kid.
This is where Grandpa usually stays.
There sure isn't much here.
No.
Incense? Please don't say it's the same one as before. But are you okay? Are you getting dizzy or need to lie down?
There's a scent that you can sense, but I can't.
A certain traveler here once passed out from that smell. Thankfully, Tighnari saved the day. And then he gave us a long lecture to explain all about how it worked.
So, you know Tighnari?
Huh? You know him too? Are you two friends?
Yes. Now that I concentrate, I can also make out the scent of incense.
Wait, surely Tighnari didn't lecture you too?
No. No need.
They are both scholars anyway. They can handle this scent very well.
Did you first encounter this scent at Tighnari's house?
No, it was in the forest where a scholar was meditating.
In the forest. From a scholar.
Let's keep looking for more clues.
What are you looking for, Sino?
Here it is. Take a look right here.
Paimon doesn't see anything.
Although the traces have been completely buried in the sand, there are footprints here, from the size and shape. They belong to an adult male. This pattern is a common one from this area. Local shoes. This was probably someone from the village. The scent is quite faint, but still extant. The footprints head in the direction of the door.
You mean someone else has been here?
But who would come looking for Grandpa? He doesn't have any friends.
We'd have to ask whoever lured him away with the incense.
Huh? So you can lure someone away with just a scent?
You get lured away by food all the time. You get lured away by food all the time.
Hey! What's wrong with liking good food? love in life.
Exactly. Most scholars are fond of incense, since the smell supposedly helps them clear their minds and discover new knowledge.
That makes sense.
Even deep within the clutches of madness, they still yearn for their knowledge-seeking days, and will follow the scent whenever it presents itself.
No, Grandpa. So, someone's taking advantage of their weakness? Huh. Still, why would anyone want to abduct all the scholars? Are the rumors really true? Could the disappearance of all the mad scholars have something to do with the radicals?
It's highly likely.
Please, you have to save my grandpa. Grandpa's never done anything wrong. Please help him.
Sounds like we'd better help get him back. Don't you worry, Isak. We won't let whoever took him get away with it.
Let's head to Aru Village and inform Candace and the others about what we learned here. After that, we'll set off to find the scholars.
Right. The darker fabric definitely looks a lot better. That'd be my choice, too.
We're back, Candace! We've got a lot to tell you.
Ah, welcome back.
Sounds like everyone's friends already.
Oh, Dia's here too!
You bet. So, everything goes smoothly?
Reasonably.
Hatham didn't go with you?
We haven't seen him at all.
Huh. I saw him around the village entrance earlier and figured he was investigating with you. I guess he must have gone off on his own.
Did you find out anything useful? I see. So someone used a kind of incense to lead the exiled scholars away from the village.
The resurrection of the Scarlet King? First I've heard of it. Far as I know, the kind of incense you just mentioned is only popular beyond the wall. Scholars are fond of it, but as you can see, there aren't many scholars still studying around these parts. No seller would be able to make a profit here. Not to mention making incense is a labor-intensive process. You won't see anybody in the desert with the patience to make or sell something that requires that kind of effort. It seems someone from beyond the wall must have been supporting this.
Makes sense.
So what should we do then? Do we go back to the academia and search for leads there?
If it was any other day, that would be your next logical step. But today, you've got me on your team, so you get an extra tip. Didn't you say that the villager got his news from the tavern? Well, I also like to drink at the tavern, so I know a thing or two about these radicals he mentioned.
If Paimon remembers correctly, the leader of the radicals is some guy called Delavar.
Ah, yeah. Delavar, the scar-riddled bandit, Engur, the wide-eyed butcher, and Jabari, the duck-tailed bearded crook. The whole lot of them are known around these parts. These guys have one thing in common, and that's being broke. The rougher life gets, the more they want to believe in the Scarlet King. Way they see it, the Scarlet King's resurrection is their only chance at overthrowing the academia. Throwing all of Sumeru into chaos is the only way to change the way of life here in the desert. Anyway, that's my guess why they've chosen to become radicals.
Tia, you're amazing! You really know this place inside and out!
No merc can afford to slack off on gathering intelligence. Every mora I've spent in the tavern has been a valuable investment.
Let's head out.
Now hold on, you're staying right here, Sino.
Why?
Aru Village is not a big place. Outsiders stand out here like a sore thumb. I'd bet word about you has already gotten out. The desert is unforgiving, so the way of life here is also a lot tougher than on the outside of the wall. You survive on making connections out here. Compared to you, mercs like me are just third-rate amateurs. I've got no actual fighting skills to speak of. But that also makes it a whole lot easier for me to gain the locals' trust. I need to go around and ask some questions, but it'll be difficult if you're with me. Good, then we've got a plan. The Traveler and Paimon will go to Caravan Rebot with me, and we'll try our best to figure out where the mad scholars have been taken. Sino, you'll have to stay in the village and continue investigating on your own.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Sounds like you're starting to get familiar with the area.
Paimon's amazed every time we see the wall of Samiel. How can a wall this tall even exist? It's almost unreal.
I know what you mean. I had the same question every time I walked this way when I was a kid. Also, why is this high wall here? And can a wall really block sandstorms? It was only after I grew up that I realized the wall of Samiel isn't just there to keep out the sandstorms. It serves a more important purpose, keeping out people like us. Sumeru is run by wise and mighty sages. To them, us desert dwellers are nothing but tools that can be used and discarded at their whim. We're cheap labor, like livestock, but easier to control. Nothing more. Even if a child from the desert got the chance to obtain an Akasha terminal, almost all their requests for knowledge would be denied. The academia believes we're underserving. Geniuses like Sataria are 1 in a million. The other children never get a single chance to try and rewrite their fate, even though the academia knows very well that we're humans, just as they are.
That's terrible.
I would tear down this wall with my own hands if I could.
Hey, Dia. You're not thinking about doing anything scary, are you?
No, not at all. This place just gets me thinking, that's all. Besides, we're here to procure information, aren't we?
Yep, we gotta catch those.
Shh! Caravan Rebot is crawling with people, so be careful what you say. We don't want anyone to find out what we're here for. Our mission started the moment we arrived here. Let's go check out the tavern. Maybe we'll find someone I know. Just our luck. None of them are here today.
You mean you don't see anyone you know?
Dia, is that you? What a coincidence. You here for a drink too?
Zaki. Finally, a friendly face.
Oh, and who do you have with you here? Guests from another land? Hello, hello. I'm Zaki. Dia's, how would you put it? Drinking buddy?
We've had drinks together a few times. You could say we go back a ways. Anyway, as far as my friends here, they aren't too shabby, are they? You rarely see any Outlanders so friendly and respectful nowadays.
Absolutely. Much better than those people on the other side of the wall. So, Dia, are you looking for someone?
Yeah. Have you seen Engur, Delavar, or Jabari recently?
Of course I have. Matter of fact, we were all here drinking together just a few days ago.
I've got a spice trading deal from another nation. I thought maybe Delavar and his friends might be interested. Know where I could find him?
Ah, how thoughtful of you. Then I assume you also know that Delavar's been having a hard time making ends meet these days, so you came here to help him out?
Hey, keep it down. Let's just say I prefer to keep this deal a secret. Y'all at Caravan Rebot are like family. If there's more to be made, why not do it together? Besides, Delavar and his friends have muscle. They'd be a good fit for escorting the goods.
Yes, how considerate of you. Delavar's my friend too, so of course I can take you to him. Come with me.
Are we there yet?
Yep, this is the place.
This place is practically deserted. What are they doing in a place like this?
Why don't you take a guess? Go on, a wild stab in the dark. You're like lambs to the slaughter.
Oh no! It's an ambush!
What's this all about, Zaki?
Come on, Dia. You really think we didn't hear about what you said back in Aru village? The boys have kept a close eye on you from the moment you set foot there. Not only do I know that you're looking for Delavar, I also know that you've teamed up with people from the academia to look for the missing scholars.
So, you've been watching us from the very beginning?
Uh-oh. Paimon knew leaving Sino behind was a mistake.
And you left the strongest one in the village, didn't you? Who do you think you are? You really thought we'd fall for your little business deal nonsense?
So you and Delavar have been partners all along.
Dia, I guess it's only natural for a traveling mercenary like you to be out of the loop. Those of us who hang around the tavern have stronger bonds than you think. But you got one thing right. We're all looking forward to an uprising in Sumeru. There's nothing more we'd like to see than the desert folk overthrowing the academia.
If that's the case, then I'm sure Delavar wouldn't miss a second of it.
I'll be honest with you. If it weren't for what you said in the village, your little monologue about the Wall of Samiel would have convinced me that you're one of us.
Delavar. And Enger, you're here too, huh?
Long time no see, Miss Mercenary. You should have known the traitors are what us followers of the Scarlet King despise the most.
Dia, I thought that you, a fellow desert dweller, would understand that the Scarlet King is greater than the Sumeru Archon. Little did I know, you don't deserve to join us.
Yeah, gee, what a missed opportunity. Adopting radical views and kidnapping innocent scholars, all because of some baseless rumors. Anything else I'm missing out on?
See? There you have it. Mercenaries are just a bunch of faithless scum with only one thing on their minds. Mora. Pathetic. You're all like a pack of street rats.
You're not wrong. Mercenaries are driven by Mora, and my faith lies with whoever's paying me. As long as there's a profit to be made, anyone can become my friend.
Enough talking! Get him!
Just as I expected. Let's teach him a lesson, traveler.
Just following orders.
Impossible! How could you?
So, what do you think about your meticulous network now, Zaki? How did you say it? It's only natural for a traveling mercenary like me to be out of the loop. I'm guessing your informant told you that I'm just an incompetent merc with no real fighting skills, correct? I mean, that is what I said after all. And of course, you would believe everything he reported. The only thing you know about me is that I'm a mercenary, but you've never seen me in action. Even though you heard we went to handle monsters together, you believed that Candace was the only one doing all the real fighting. That so-called Flame Mane is just a fraud. She admitted it herself. She just uses her connections to gain the trust of others. That's what you thought, right?
Ugh. You lied in the village because you figured that we'd have people watching you.
And you were stupid enough to fall for it. I figured as much the first time we drank together. You all thought you were so smart. Pathetic. Okay, that should be all of them.
Whoa! So you've been planning this since we were in Aru Village?
No task can be done without preparation. I just happened to notice a couple suspicious-looking people while you were out investigating.
Oh, but instead of catching them right away, you let them report back.
Those two who were snooping around were just a couple small fries. If we want to get the real catch, we have to be patient and give it some time.
Oh, you mean the funny name she mentioned back in Uncle Ampu's house? The wide-eyed butcher, scar-riddled bandit,
That's just a bunch of drunk talk. Enger and Delavar like to talk themselves up when they're drinking. Enger, the wide-eyed butcher, and Delavar, the scar-riddled bandit, are the nicknames they came up with for themselves. Alcohol has a way of making people share what they really think. So Enger and Delavar are always rambling in the tavern about how the Scarlet King is a superior deity.
What about Zaki?
He's just a numbskull who fell right into our trap. Zaki was probably the best hidden of them all. My initial plan was to find Delavar first, and then try to track him down. That's what you wanted to ask when we were at Uncle Anpu's house, right? Jabari is one of the villagers you talked to. You know, the one who wanted to treat Isak and his grandpa to some food.
Wait, so he's a radical too?
No, he isn't. I just needed to tack on a random villager name to make the eavesdropper think that I was making some wild guesses based on my impressions.
Wow, what a genius idea! Well, That's an expert mercenary for ya.
Ah, you're too kind. It was straight from the usual playbook, if I'm honest.
So, that thing you were saying before, is it really true?
Hmm? About what?
About how mercenaries only care about Mora, and that anyone's a friend as long as there's a profit.
Does that bother you? What makes you so sure?
Dia, do you dislike the Dendro Archon like the other desert folk?
You two are pretty sharp. No, I don't have anything against the Dendro Archon. I've heard a lot of nice things about the Lesser Lord from Dunyarzad. I can understand her devotion and gratitude. Dunyarzad's just an ordinary person. There's no way a god would be so involved in the lives of everyday people unless they were truly compassionate. I've begun to realize that the sages are behind everything that's happened recently. The radicals' blind belief in the Scarlet King, making the Dendro Archon out to be an enemy. It's all the Academia's trickery. But I see through it all. And unlike them, I can never be hostile towards anyone who's never done anything wrong.
Dia.
Anyway, looks like we're done with business here. Traveler, lend me a hand. Let's tie him up and bring him to the village. This should be all of them. I'll let you take it from here.
All right. I'll be in touch. Until then, please stand by.
Candace, do you need any help?
Candace will be okay on her own. I trust her, so you can too. She's been guarding Aru Village for quite some time now. If anyone is qualified to question the offenders, it's her.
While I'm questioning them, why don't you pass some time by exploring the area?
I'll meet you back here tomorrow morning, Traveler. As for these idiots, let's just hope they live to see another day.
You heard the question. Now answer me.
Ah!
Hey, Dia!
Right on time. We'll know any moment now.
Paimon's been wondering. You seem to know Candace pretty well. Have you been friends for a long time?
We've known each other for some time now. She's a pretty interesting person. Even though she's an extremely strong warrior, she never misuses her powers against others.
Oh, Paimon knows what you mean. Like a lot of martial artists say, never take the fight outside the ring.
Yep, I guess you can put it that way. It takes strong convictions to be as dedicated as she is, and shoulder that kind of responsibility. Us mercs, on the other hand, we pretty much live from one day to the next.
Well, Paimon thinks you're great, too.
Really? Thanks for that.
Oh, Sino's here, and he's pretty early, too.
Yes. I was here yesterday to help out a little.
To help out? By doing what?
Sharing some interrogation techniques.
Oh, you mean you taught Candace some more persuasive methods?
Right.
Come on in, everyone.
Come on, let's go inside.
Candace, where? Whoa, you look furious.
Do I? Huh. What gave it away?
Oh, there's no mask that can hide true bloodlust. Cover up your eyes, and it'll still show itself at the corners of your mouth.
Perhaps I need to work on my composure. Still, it's perfectly understandable why I'm angry. I'm sure everyone present would agree.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, don't beat us anymore. We're gonna die.
Well, looks like Sino taught her well.
You fear death yourselves, yet you do not hesitate to place the lives of others at risk. The absurdity is mind-boggling. The ones you call mad scholars are known to us as the Village Keepers. They are vital members of our community, and some even count them as family. You come here to my village, and you treat my people as nothing more than stepping stones towards your goal. Tell me, What would you do to you in my position?
Mercy! Please have mercy!
You've made your bed.
We may both be desert dwellers, but there is one thing that I understand better than you. The resurrection of the Scarlet King will only result in war. And war serves no one. The people of Aru Village care little about which god is in power. Life may be tough and tiring, but we wish to preserve our way of life. A war would only cause us to lose all that we have. And that is not a responsibility that you can afford to shoulder.
We understand. We're sorry. I'll tell you everything I know. Please, just let us go.
I'm listening.
You might not believe this, but it wasn't us who came up with this idea. Someone was spreading rumors in the tavern. That's how we ended up hearing about the Scarlet King's resurrection. Some mystery man told us that mad scholars will make the perfect sacrifice to usher in the Scarlet King's resurrection. They give their lives, and we can get anything we wish for.
They're called village keepers. Slip up again, and you'll regret it.
Yes, sorry. It was all that mystery man's doing. He told us to spread word about the Scarlet King's resurrection and talked us into helping him. In return, he said he'll help facilitate the resurrection process. I'm not sure.
That's one.
Huh? One what?
Strike. You get a total of 3. Then, you die by my hand.
Wait, I'm telling the truth. We don't know anything. It was all him.
2.
He got us to lure them out of their houses in the night with some kind of incense. We take them to a junction outside the village. Then the mystery guy takes them from there. You gotta believe me, please. I'm telling the truth, I swear. Just ask them if you don't believe me.
That was indeed the truth. Traveler, go on.
You have to believe me. If I knew that, I would have told you his name right away. I'm not risking another beating to keep his secrets. No way. That guy, he wears a cloak, and he's always careful to cover his face. He calls himself the Scarlet King's envoy.
I believe I may know what's going on.
Uncle Anpu? What do you mean?
Smooth.
Okay, speak.
If my suspicions are correct, this mystery man they speak of could be from the Academia. Some time ago, people from the Academia attempted to take the village keepers away. I refused, insisting that they are part of our community. It strikes me now that this secretive character shares the same goal they had.
Which means it's highly likely that the Academia was purposely spreading a false rumor to trick the radicals into delivering the village keepers right into their hands. They were the ones who brought them here to begin with. Now they're trying to take them back? We aren't gonna let that happen.
Not the Academia again.
Just as I thought. But what could they want with the village keepers?
People are nothing but tools in the eyes of the Academia. A change in their plans likely means they found another way to exploit the scholars. Regardless, our top priority now is locating the village keepers.
You're right. Isak is still waiting for news on his grandpa.
Time to go. Let's leave the village and try to track them down.
Yes. Pack up and get ready to leave.
You got it. Candace, I'll let you deal with the radicals. Leave everything outside the village to us.
All right.
Let's meet back here once everyone's ready. Let's get some food in us and then we'll... Whoa! Where did you come from?
Well, as you can see, I am merely sitting here and reviewing what we have deduced thus far.
You were gone for ages, and now you're suddenly sitting here musing to yourself? Where have you been anyway? Hey, what's with the silence?
You never think things through before asking questions. I'm giving you some time to make up for that.
Paimon's so mad! Paimon's gonna give you an ugly nickname!
She's furious.
Never mind! Paimon's got nothing. There's just nothing super obvious to pick with this guy. It makes it so hard.
Well, you've heard nothing to suggest I left this whole time, so clearly I stayed in the village to investigate. Anyway, you plan to leave Aru Village and keep searching for the truth of this matter, yes?
Yep. We're not gonna find out anything more by staying here, so we thought that we might as well take the search elsewhere. Enough with the silent treatment!
No. I'm just surprised that you decided to team up with him.
All Hatham. You haven't helped us out at all ever since we arrived at Aru Village. Bold of you to question our choices.
Yeah, you're all talk!
While you were investigating, I had my own work to do, which I've now finished.
Really? Paimon doesn't believe you.
To be honest, we aren't really a team, so I have no obligation to inform you of my whereabouts. Not to mention that going separate ways allowed me to find some important information that you all had missed.
Huh? Right here in the village?
Correct.
What did you learn?
I'm going to take you to someone. But before that, you need to understand where she's coming from.
What does that mean?
How do you think the residents of Aru Village feel about what we're doing? In other words, do you truly believe every single word the villagers tell us?
You mean some of them lied to us?
Hiding the truth does not necessarily equate to lying. Again, these people have their reasons. Remember what Candace said? Most people in Aru Village don't necessarily care which deity is in charge of Sumeru. That's because whether the Scarlet King or the Dendro Archon has power is of little significance to them. By contrast, the perils of their daily lives are ever-present concerns. They won't simply share everything they know with you without good reason. That's why you believed there was no further information to be found in this village. Glad you're following along. Among those you have talked to, there's someone who was consciously keeping you out of the loop. In fact, she's been observing your every move since you arrived. The reason being, to someone who only wants to live their life in peace, any external factors introduce unpredictability into the equation.
Those eyes, those fierce eyes. You look like a real fighter.
Don't change the subject.
It's quite obvious that she's intimidated by Sino's authority and strength.
Right. You were asking about the mad scholars.
She corrected herself mid-sentence because she's aware that there are Scarlet King fanatics in the village. If she sounds too friendly towards the village keepers, she could easily make herself the radicals' next target.
I think it's been a few days since I last saw them. I usually go to bed pretty early, so I'm not too familiar with what goes on at night.
Remember? She made a point of denying her involvement in anything that occurs at night.
But honestly, I feel quite sympathetic towards them. Even though they act a little strange, they've helped me in the past. If it weren't for them, my house would have collapsed long ago.
After speaking to the village chief, it became clear that the village keepers had protected Aru Village at night. In other words, the young miss was very much awake during that time.
Then why would she lie?
By getting involved with an outsider, she risks drawing unwanted attention to herself. As for why she might be so wary about all this, maybe you should ask her.
I'll pass on this one. You said that she is afraid of me. If so, it's best if I stay out of this.
We're on it!
Miss Shawnee, as we discussed earlier, I've brought someone with me.
Mr. Alhaitham, I'm aware of where you stand, but how can I make sure that your friends think the same as you?
Huh? What do you mean? We need to clarify our stance or something?
Go ahead and talk to her. You'll get the answers you want. Go on. Earn her trust.
Is it really that simple?
May I call you Traveler?
Sure thing. Hi, Miss Shani.
Hi, Traveler. I want to ask you something. Do you think the resurrection of the Scarlet King can truly change Sumeru for the better? Why's that?
Because it'll only result in conflict.
That's very similar to what Miss Candace says. I know you two are friends. That's why I'm willing to talk to you, even though I do have some reservations. Before, I wouldn't even have the courage to ask something like this. Traveler, do you believe our lives will get better?
Can't promise anything, but I'll do the best I can.
Yeah! We came here from another nation, so it isn't wrong of you to be weary. And we aren't really residents of any one nation. But even so, we've met lots of people from different places, and we've always fought for what we believed in. We have friends in Sumeru, and we want to help them. That's why we decided to stay here for a while.
I want to trust you. My apologies for posing my questions like that. To be honest, I didn't expect you to come back for more information.
Hatham told us you have your reasons. It's okay. We understand.
The fact is that only one side of my family is desert folk. I don't really fit in anywhere in Sumeru. Some believe in the Dendro Archon, while others believe in the Scarlet King. I don't belong to either side, and neither side would want me.
Speaking of which, the radicals mentioned that they despise traitors. Do they just think that anyone who's different from them is a traitor?
Yeah. Some people can be so narrow-minded when it comes to bloodline and beliefs. It makes no difference what I say or how I behave. I'll always be suspected of having ulterior motives. Slowly, I just stopped talking to people. I pretended not to hear or see anything. All I want is to live my life in peace. And then it happened. The village keepers who had helped me disappeared with no explanation, and I didn't dare breathe a word about it to anyone. Until now.
You can tell them. I'm sure she'll keep your secret.
All right. I'll tell you what I told Hatham. I actually have a sharper sense of hearing than most. Sometimes, I hear strange crying sounds in the night.
There are ghosts?
Perhaps. I'm not sure. It's faint, but it's definitely the sound of crying. It comes from far away in the distance, and always carries very raw emotion. It used to be louder and more frequent, but ever since you arrived in the village, it doesn't seem to happen as often, and when it does, it's much quieter. I have to focus really hard to make it out.
I confirmed this with the guards on night duty. They also have someone with a good ear, and he's heard similar sounds at night. But, because we're in the middle of a desert, he would rather believe that they are the cries of beasts than ghosts.
Did you make out where the sounds were coming from?
There's really nothing around these parts, except for an old hospital not far from the village.
I think they used to use it for treating Elazar, but it's been abandoned for years.
You need to check out that hospital.
Yeah, let's go! Oh, is this the place? Ah, monsters! Watch out!
Useless.
They were easier to deal with than Paimon had expected. Super strong bandits? Or monsters taller than buildings dropping out of the sky? Or, something like that. He looks super serious. We gotta stay on our A-game too.
This is the one. Let's go in and take a look.
Hey, Hatham, we haven't found Squat. Are you
patience. Shawnee says she only hears the crying at night. We have time to burn. Until then, I'm taking a break.
And just like that, he sits down. Wait, he even brought a book to read? What are you reading? Let Paimon see!
He's behaving like a true scholar.
Okay, sure.
Huh? The natural position, which is the positional propensity of an entity in natural motion in contrast with an object in forced motion? Huh? When free from external influences, every entity displays the tendency to follow its natural trajectory?
OMG. These are real big brain stuff.
So, you got that?
Of course not.
Oh, Paimon gives up. You keep reading your book. See ya! How is he so relaxed? Look at him, reading an impossible book in a creepy place like this. Hey! Paimon's your Tibet travel guide. Paimon knows plenty of useful stuff already. And anyway, it's not Paimon's fault that the books people read in Sumeru are so complicated.
Okay. Paimon's the best.
Paimon's getting so sleepy. Huh? What was that sound?
There it is. It's coming from that direction.
Is the sound coming from here? Huh. Paimon's not seeing anything.
It's from below.
But there's no way we can get down there.
Something is off about the interior here. As I thought, there's a hidden structure.
Wow. It's like they tucked another hospital into this one. Oh, it looks like there are other mechanisms around here. Let's keep exploring. without alarming him.
Wait. You're...
He can't speak, and his eyes are unfocused. But he looks too young to be anyone's grandfather. Also, why is he the only one here?
Didn't expect to see him here.
You know him?
He's Razak, a senior of mine at the Academia.
He's a scholar too? Is he the kind that holes up in a forest and mumbles stuff about training?
No. And that's the problem. Razak was never involved in any of those things. He never trained in the forest, let alone reach Satyavada life. Leaving that question aside for the moment, him being here alone means that we might be too late. Looks like they've already taken everyone away. For whatever reason, they left Razak here. Perhaps they simply didn't have time to come back for him. There are drag marks on the ground. They're clearer by the doorway. Someone was forcefully drawing a cart that was loaded with something heavy.
Loaded with people?
That is one possibility. It looks like they were in a hurry, as if they were afraid of being caught. In their haste, they failed to notice Razak hiding in a corner. The symptoms are identical. Looks like we found living proof.
Huh? Why do you say that?
Allow me to jog your memory. Recall your time at Port Ormos. Don't you think his symptoms look familiar?
Oh, now that you mention it, they're acting the same way.
Correct. The Academia is behind all of this. It isn't difficult to deduce their rationale. First, the Academia spread a false rumor of the Scarlet King's resurrection, emphasizing the role of the village keepers, the mad scholars who were exiled to Aru village. These rumors were all the persuasion that the radicals needed, and those based in Aru village leapt into action. Unbeknownst to them, of course, through rounding up the scholars, they were actually helping the Academia. As well as being able to exploit the radicals for their own ends, this scheme has one further advantage to the Academia. All the risks and responsibilities are offloaded onto the Scarlet King's followers. Life for the Desert Dwellers has been brutal ever since the Scarlet King's death all those years ago. Beneath the surface, feelings of desperation are widespread. Many would give everything they have for the prospect of something better. Anyone looking to exploit that for their own ends simply needs to make a few empty promises. Even if complications arise, people will see that those involved are all followers of the Scarlet King and look for no further explanation than differences of belief. A deep-seated mistrust of the desert and everyone in it by the rest of Sumeru will make sure of that. The notion of an Academia plot wouldn't even cross their minds. It may seem like a simple strategy, but it is able to work wonders under Sumeru's current circumstances.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. It's in line with the village chief's theory, too. But there's still one very important question. Wasn't it the Academia that brought the scholars to Aru village in the first place? Why does it want them back now?
Throughout this process, one thing has changed. The scholars' identity. First, they were scholars. Then, they became lunatics. After that, they were exiles. And finally, they become missing persons. An exile is still patently a living, breathing human being. But when someone becomes a missing person, that is brought into question. If you can't find someone, you have no way of knowing what exactly happened to them. That makes missing people an ideal resource.
Resource? For what exactly?
One possibility is that the information in their brains could be extracted into knowledge capsules.
Extracted? You mean canned knowledge comes from people's brains?
With the technology of the Sumeru Academia, it's entirely possible. Perhaps the process caused them great suffering, which is why they cry out in the dead of night when no one is watching them.
So, the human brain... Nope, nah, Paimon doesn't want to think about this.
I'm the Academia scribe, after all. I'm familiar with their projects. Anyway, judging by Razak's state, the contents of a divine knowledge capsule were extracted from his mind. But something went wrong in the process. Or perhaps his curiosity got the better of him, and he used such a capsule for himself.
Paimon's a little confused. Can they just use anyone's brain?
The look on your face tells me you've realized the answer.
The academia needs people who have been exposed to the divine consciousness.
That's right. To some scholars, gaining knowledge about the gods is their entire life's pursuit. Extracting canned knowledge is just one of the extreme measures they turn to. However, I can't help but wonder, what do they seek to gain from divine knowledge? The academia is going out of their way to look for forbidden knowledge, but what is their ultimate goal? I've spent quite some time trying to analyze the contents of the divine knowledge capsule, but to no avail. It seems like my way of thinking is too different from theirs.
You mean you're not even slightly interested in getting your hands on this forbidden stuff?
All scholars seek to expand the horizons of knowledge, but I'm not particularly interested in gods, so I don't share their degree of zealotry. Extracting information from people as if they were lifeless objects? If this is the direction of academic progress, then the academia may as well shut its doors.
Sounds like you're really against all this.
Of course. The academia's actions run contrary to their rules. Whether it be academics or knowledge, everything has its boundaries. If those lines are crossed, the rules and order that govern everything in the world will be destroyed. This matter needs to be corrected, just like fixing a typo in a book.
Wait, didn't you step in to help because you felt sympathy for those poor people?
Not to be callous, but no. My criteria are a little more restrictive than that. There is no shortage of suffering in Sumeru, and the same can be said for the rest of Teyvat as well. What do you plan to do about that? Save every last person?
Probably not. Paimon's not sure.
Your motives are specific and personal.
You can say that. Simply put, I don't blindly place my faith into strength or heroism. I do what I want. The divine knowledge capsule is something I want to investigate in full. That doesn't mean I'm willing to take action for the sake of a few strangers.
Paimon's been wanting to say this for a while. There are a lot of bad guys in the academia, but you're not one of them. You're their weirdo.
You're probably right. Though I must say, I quite enjoy this feeling of being the odd one out. Uniqueness is also an asset, is it not?
Wow, that's a great way to think about it. Paimon's really impressed. If only Miss Shani had a similar mindset, her life would definitely be a lot easier.
I'm just a more likable person than her in general. There's nothing more to it than that.
So what do we do with him?
He won't last long if we leave him here. Let's take him with us. We'll work out our next step after we return to Aru Village.
We're back!
You must be tired. You should rest and take some water.
What's the situation?
Who's this?
Unfortunately, somebody who's too young to take on the role of Isak's grandfather. Nevertheless, he's one of the people we're trying to find.
So, at one point in time, the abandoned Elazar Hospital served as the academia's site for extracting divine cant knowledge.
Yep, pretty much.
Their plan must have been implemented at some point before we arrived at Aru Village, since divine cant knowledge has been in circulation for a while now. Yet, they fled once we were headed to the village, almost as if they knew we were on their trail. Why is that?
Yeah, why is that?
We may have a mole in our midst. One of us could be secretly revealing our whereabouts to the academia.
Huh? Are our friendships that shallow?
Looks like none of you have realized wherein lies the issue. Sino, you're the reason why they can predict our movements.
Wait, what's that supposed to mean?
Choose your next words very carefully.
It is simply a logical inference. I have my reasons.
So what you're saying is, Sino's the mole. Interesting. And here I thought you were the most suspicious one, Alhaitham, since you were always acting alone.
I know. You have a point. But I realized something as we were returning from the hospital. Sino isn't like any of us.
What are you trying to say?
Do you still remember who you are, General Mahamatra? As a Matra, you are no doubt privy to certain kinds of information. Before you can take action against someone, you are required to have all the facts available, including the less than savory details. Simply put, the academia has traditionally allowed you access to a wealth of sensitive information. Knowing their modus operandi, wouldn't you expect them to take precautions against you? If you want to raise a vicious wolf, you need to make sure that you can avoid its bite.
The academia is monitoring me?
It's not that simple. The academia has eyes all over Sumeru, but they have a special protocol for dealing with you. Every so often comes a Nyagarbaha Day. On this day, the academia enters new information into the Akasha through knowledge capsules. I remember seeing a thick notebook next to the control panel once. Its contents were all about the General Mahamatra, his activities throughout the day, preferred methods of enacting judgment, everything.
You're saying that the academia entered my information into the Akasha too? But what's the point in doing that? My actions aren't important enough to be added into the Akasha.
The Akasha is capable of computation. The Akasha's algorithms are entirely capable of predicting your movements using the data entered. When you would depart, the route you would follow, your destination. It knew all of this.
It predicted my every move.
The academia has been watching you longer than you think.
So that's how it is. Sino adheres to his principles so strongly that he's actually a thorn in their side. Tenacity of will and steadfast faith are worthless to the academia. They need scholars who are easily pliable and mindlessly go after anything they can profit from. Sino, don't take it to heart. This just proves how much of a trustworthy ally you are.
They escaped because of me.
Don't blame yourself. It's not like any of us would have known.
I have an idea. If they predicted my movements, then I might be able to guess where they went.
Whoa, you bounced back fast.
There is always an opportunity for safety after danger passes.
Oh, so that's how it is! Paimon gets it now. If the academia is trying to avoid Sino, then the safest place would be...
one step behind him.
Yep, that's right!
They'll want to proceed in the direction opposite of where I'm going.
You're getting smarter, Paimon. Lol.
I must go.
There's also something I want to investigate.
Let's go, guys! After him!
Please, wait! I want to go too!
You want to go too? If so, you have to promise you'll stay safe.
Oh no, this is a bad idea. Why did you let him?
I want to find Grandpa. I promise I'll be careful and not cause any trouble.
Everyone, I leave him in your hands.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Yay! Let's go! Remember to pack some food with you. Paimon feels like we're missing someone, though. So, where do we go from here?
Yes. After leaving the village, we should head straight toward the desert.
desert like the back of my hand. Is that because you play here a lot? Yep. One time, Grandpa...
There's something here. What's this?
It's buried in the sand. Looks like we'll need to roll up our sleeves and do some work.
And Paimon thought running around everywhere was already enough work.
Lol, now isn't the time for complaining, Paimon.
Okay. So, we have to dig it out? Whatever's down there looks like it's buried really deep.
These are likely fragments of an academia-developed device, something akin to a headset. Looks like there were more than one village keeper. They must have been escorted this way because there are device fragments scattered around here. Let's split up and search the area. Chances are that we'll find other things nearby.
Is this what we're searching for? It looks kind of scary.
This is definitely a device used to extract divine knowledge.
How did it end up buried in the sand? That can't have been part of the plan. They must have been attacked along the way.
Wait, what? Grandpa, I hope you're okay. Don't worry, your grandpa's gonna be fine.
Razak didn't display any signs of starvation or dehydration, which means that they left fairly recently.
We should be able to catch up.
One more thing. Given that the device had been entirely covered by sand, I believe the attack must have happened prior to the sandstorm.
Let's keep going. They can't have gone far.
Ugh, but running on sand is so tiring. But you're flying, aren't you, Paimon? Is flying over sand tiring too? Ugh, of course it is!
Don't get any closer. They'll notice us.
Dia's talking with the Eremites? Very interesting. Let's listen in.
If you had informed me sooner, there'd be plenty of room for us to...
You're one of us. We would never lie.
Scholars. You don't know as much as I do. Need me to...
I knew it. That's our Dia.
Dia? Why would you... Dia!
Oh no, come on, I knew it.
Hey, what are you doing?
Huh?
Didn't you say you'd help me find Grandpa? Why are you on their side?
Well, look who's here. Ain't that something?
This complicates things.
You've betrayed Aru village?
So, this is the great General Mahamatra. Dear, you'd be better off as my assistant than hanging around with this motley crew. Seen for yourself, I have the means and methods, and my ideals are far more admirable than theirs.
I'm not the type that's easily swayed, Raman. You of all people should know that.
Wait, what's going on, Dia? Whose side are you on here?
Shut it, Paimon.
What the heck? Poor Paimon.
It doesn't matter. Whichever side you pick, nothing could deter us from the grand mission of resurrecting the Scarlet King. Once our Lord of Old returns to this land, we will have a new beginning.
Face the facts, Raman. It's not gonna happen. You should understand that more than anyone. Have all your years as a merc taught you nothing about placing hopes in a ruler?
I'm a desert dweller and a proud follower of the Scarlet King. Whether I live by the edge of the sword or in peaceful comfort, my soul will always carry this conviction.
It's not too late yet. The village mad scholars aren't gonna bring the Scarlet King back to life.
You don't understand, my dear lady. Pursuing our faith is our purpose in life. Even if the chance of success is 1 in a million, we must be willing to give everything we have.
Even if it'll expose you to the academia? Even if they end up disbanding the Eremites? Your Eremites, which you've worked so hard for all these years?
Yes. We've waited a long time for this day to come. The sun and the moon no longer shine here. All you see now is cracks in this desiccated land. But fate has finally dealt me a hand to play against the Academia. With these scholars in our custody, we'll stomp the Academia's forces and fight our way beyond the wall of Samiel.
Ridiculous. Think about it. The Academia controls the entirety of Sumeru. Your powers are negligible in comparison. If you still don't believe me, then try asking these 2 men. They're also against the Academia, but neither of them are as arrogant as you are.
They look more like pawns of the Academia to me. Why would I listen to anything the people of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata have to say? Filthy traitors. Your god abandoned all honor and betrayed the Scarlet King. We desert dwellers will never trust the likes of you.
It's impossible to communicate with someone so hostile. Perhaps we should.
Do you really believe that by kidnapping the scholars, you'll be able to negotiate with the Academia? These people have no value as bargaining chips, but I could be persuaded to take their place as your next hostage. These scholars were exiled from the Academia. I, on the other hand, am their current scribe, and will be a much greater asset to you.
Wait, you can't be serious.
So, you want to trade places with the hostages, do you?
Precisely. Any wise person would gladly accept my offer.
What are you thinking? What if they decide to kill you instead?
Well, that would be bad luck for me. However, I'd get the chance to observe the scholars, perhaps even find out the truth.
Think you can talk me over with that confident look of yours?
I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm using this as a means of joining forces against the Academia.
You are the scribe. What do you have against the Academia?
Not all desert dwellers believe in the Scarlet King, and the same applies to the Academia. Why must all knowledge seekers approve of the Academia's way of doing things?
You Academia scum. Every last one of you is nothing but a hypocrite, just like everyone else on the other side of that wall. I've made myself clear enough. I won't listen to another word from the Dendro Archon's people.
Not so fast. I'll hate them. Do you stand by everything you just said?
I never make empty promises.
You know you're making a dangerous decision, right?
I do.
Good. Raman, hear me out. These people are my friends. Maybe you can't take the followers of the Dendro Archon at their word, but what about me? Do you trust me?
We've known each other for years. Of course I do.
In that case, I'm willing to vouch for their honesty with my right arm. Come on, Raman, don't be a coward. If you're serious about taking on the Academia, you need to steel yourself. You can't be afraid.
An arm from the Flame Mane. You've piqued my interest. But what if you refuse to oblige? What should I do then? No one's a fool here, Dia. We're mercs. And mercs don't tend to live long unless they have their wits about them.
You're not wrong, but this is different. I promised my friends that we'd bring back the village keepers together.
Let's do it right here then. Give me your right arm as proof of your resolve.
Don't listen to him! He's not even trying to negotiate! He just wants to make things more difficult!
That's fine.
Are you crazy?
We came here to save lives. One arm for that many people is still a pretty good deal, if you ask me. Raman, I'm holding up my end of the deal here. You'd better not let me down.
Sure. Go ahead and cut off her right arm.
No! Dia! What are you gonna do? Think of something!
You don't have to go this far.
That's not for you to decide.
Do it! Stop!
Oh my golly.
What's wrong? Can't do it?
Flame Mane, you and I are both desert folk. Cutting off your arm is no different than cutting off my own fingers. Where's the sense in cutting my own kin to pieces? You've shown me that you're serious. Go on now, take your friends and leave. Meet me in the desert at noon tomorrow.
Phew. I was really counting on him not going through with it.
Dia! That was crazy! Have you all lost your minds? What if he'd actually cut your arm off?
Then I'd just have to hold my claymore with my left arm. Okay, I'm sorry. But sometimes when you're out on a limb, you gotta double down to seal the deal, you know?
Don't ever make a promise like that again. I can deal with the likes of them. If it came down to it, you would not lose to them either.
I don't doubt it, Sino. But this is about more than me and them. There's a lot more where they came from. Even if we got rid of one bunch of radicals, there are others out there. Wiping them out would do more harm than good.
As you wish.
I'm sorry, Dia. I should have stayed put and listened. I should have trusted you.
It's okay. I promised you I'd help find your grandpa, so I'll do whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes? You just might be scholar material.
Huh? Are you serious?
The Eremites once said that I was a lunatic. Perhaps a little madness is essential to be successful in research.
Why does it feel like he's using his praise for me as an excuse to brag about himself? Okay, let's get moving. We should head back to the village and rest up. Today was just a trial run. Noon tomorrow is gonna be the hard part.
You're all here so early.
Looks like we have everyone here. Isak, are you sure you want to come with us?
I'll watch from a safe distance. Dia, I want to be there to bring Grandpa home.
Okay, let's go then.
Dia, wait.
What's the matter?
I heard that you were quite reckless yesterday. No more of that today, understood? Or I'll be very upset with you.
Fine.
Huh. They got here before us.
Uh-oh. Is it because Paimon overslept by 5 minutes and held everyone up?
Is everything ready?
Absolutely. Although, you brought fewer people than I imagined.
Bring him over.
Grandpa! Why is there only one of them?
Rahman, I've always thought of you as a man of his word. What's this about?
It's a one-for-one exchange. Sounds fair, don't you think?
Bruh. Haitham is a scribe. He's definitely worth like more than one person. He's maybe like worth around 5 to 6 people. Come on, this is not fair.
And let me put it this way. Agreeing to any kind of deal with the Dendro Archon's people is already a huge compromise on my part. Don't you think you've asked enough?
You stay right there!
Flame, what do you think you're doing?
Don't you see this blade here? You coward! Why are your hands shaking? Wait a second! It's a earthquake!
Paimon's dizzy.
This day's going just great.
What a nuisance. The sand dune collapsed. I saw an energy field. The village keeper protected us. It glowed green with dendro. Just like you said, it may well have been the remains of Lesser Lord Kusanali's power inside the scholar's body. The Dendro Archon. The present one.
Grandpa? Grandpa? Oh no, he's getting confused again.
Hey, look around you.
Did there used to be a temple here?
It seems that when the sand dune collapsed, it exposed these underground structures. The symbols on the gate belong to the Scarlet King's civilization. This structure must be ancient. Over time, the sandstorms completely buried it and left it in the state we see now. It could have been an underground palace in the distant past.
Oh, a miracle. Praise the Scarlet King!
What's he doing here? And his men too?
They must have fallen down here with us. Pretty lucky if you ask me. Most of them seem in really bad shape. Except for him. He got off lightly.
Mind your head.
No, this isn't the time for conflict. Our exalted lord has shown us the way to his sacred palace.
He's not actually gonna go in there, is he?
As it happens, I want to take a look inside too.
What are you doing?
Don't you think it's curious? 1 minute, Lesser Lord Kusanali's power protects us from harm, and the next, remnants of the Scarlet King's civilization appear. 2 major deities are vying to showcase their power to us. It would be a shame not to witness them both.
Paimon thought you weren't interested in gods.
Indeed. In my view, gods are just a higher form of living being, or creature, you could say. New discoveries are always worth investigating. Whether they have anything to do with gods is neither here nor there.
Raman, what are you gonna do about your men?
I'll just let them lay here. The Scarlet King will take care of his people. Right now, I'm going inside.
Grandpa? Grandpa? Oh no, he's getting confused again.
It's full of life here. This defies comprehension. It looked completely desolate from the outside. Yet, it flows with energy inside.
Yeah, and there's so many plants. It's so pretty.
Sir Raman.
Huh? Me?
Do you see another Raman here?
Are you mocking me? What do you mean, sir?
Interpret it however you want, but there's something I'd like to draw your attention to. While this structure is clearly left over from King Deshret's civilization, the energy that flows in here is that of the Dendro Archon.
Whatever you say. It's not like I have a vision.
There's nothing to be angry about. Think of this as an academic journey.
It does seem kinda strange. If that's true, then we might have to explore this whole area to find an explanation.
Let's go for this one, please. Oh wait, what? It's already matched though. Oh my god. Finally. And finally got it. Wee! Wow! Look at that. Wow, cabbage.
Solidify!
Okay, are we done? Okay, can we now finally use without use?
Gather!
Okay, we got the chest. Ooh, it's just interesting. I just started the Act 4 actually, so yeah. Hehe. Ooh, a chest. Hey, what the? That was close.
Solidify!
Wait, what's in here? Looks like Cyano. Alright. Oh, okay. After 6 days of completing the temple, I've ever sent the priest parlor tricks. Hold the sand to the ground, get on top of it before it starts. Hey, I'm still reading! How dare you!
Careless!
Coming to be!
I was reading. Am I still on the quest? The elevator will descend to the ground. Get on top of it before it starts ascending again to reach the dome. Monsters of forbidden ground ahead. Mortal shall not. Sacred presence. Alright. Huh? Oh, there we go.
Stabilize!
Okay, another puzzle. Is this also moving on its own? Oh, it is! Oh no! No! Okay, start up again. Alright, we got it. Are we supposed to go down again? is a different level.
That's a sight to see. King Deshret's splendor surrounds us.
There's so much vegetation here. It's different than what I expected.
Sure are a lot of plants for a desert.
That's what I call divine providence of King Deshret.
Oh, now we're using Rumi. Wow, look at that. Sheesh.
It's getting brighter. Oh, it looks so beautiful.
Wait, what's that?
A load of flowers. And it looks like there's something among them.
It looks like a tomb.
These are King Deshret runes.
They left something behind. Yes. It's an elegy written in an ancient script.
What does it say?
Here lies our faithful priest Kasala. His wisdom is a miracle among the people, deserving of high praise and admiration.
You can read ancient King Deshret script?
Of course. Every student needs to master at least 20 languages before they graduate.
He's not serious, right?
There's still something off about this place. The elemental energy here is too concentrated. The scent of life. Is it trying to tell us something?
Is this it?
Analyzing.
Bruh. Oh.
There seems to be a hidden message among these skeletal remains. Excellent. There's a device from King Deshret's civilization in this gravesite. I'll transmit the information over and project it for everyone to see.
Isn't sharing knowledge against the Academia's rules?
Yes. However, under the circumstances, I'd prefer you to see this for yourself. You'll understand after watching it.
Civilization is born of knowledge, but so too can knowledge be its demise. A disaster caught us unaware. It was knowledge that did not belong to this world. King Deshret brought this forbidden knowledge into our world, and it quickly spread like a plague. People's minds were filled with crazed whispers. Dark gray scales spread across their bodies. Even the land was stripped of its vigor. Only a desperate, deathly silence remained. Were it not for greater Lord Ruka Devata from the forests, the damage would have been irreversible. She summoned the priests to build temples and infused into them the divine power of life. The disaster was miraculously tempered, and the embers of our civilization were preserved in Aru village. Alas, the miracle could not last. As long as forbidden knowledge continued to exist, it would forever blight this world. In the end, the proud king of the desert, my eternal lord, chose to sacrifice himself. I have spent my whole life since guarding one of these many temples. But now, my duty is coming to an end. As I close my eyes for the final time, the sight of that noble deity will appear in my vision once more.
In helping King Deshret to eradicate forbidden knowledge, she exhausted her strength, and her form became that of a small child. How strange. Now that I think of her, I no longer have any fear of death, for I sense that the spirit of life will abide with me during my eternal sleep. Children of the desert, cling no longer to past grievances, but hold tight to the memory of this act of benevolence.
What was that?
The priest's memories.
No, impossible.
Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. So the former Dendro Archon and King Deshret were never enemies at all.
But this doesn't make any sense. The Dendro Archon's followers, they're clearly...
Was that the former Dendro Archon? He became so tiny in the end.
You might be distrustful of the Akasha, but there's no reason for you to doubt King Deshret's technology. You've just witnessed his priest's last words.
I've never heard about any of this before.
Of course. The academia made fake news, dude. Fake news is really powerful, especially if they're the ones, controlling all the technology and such. That also applies in real life. If y'all are living in the Philippines, you know what I mean.
The surviving followers of King Deshret all gathered in Aru village. Our god did not make mistakes. We refused to believe any of the rumors. King Deshret's death, the all but total annihilation of our civilization, it was all Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's doing. We saw her as nothing more than a traitor, who stabbed us in the back in our moment of crisis. Just like us humans. Fighting, feuding, double-crossing each other to survive in the desert.
You were blinded by your prejudice.
If I hadn't seen this for myself, if I hadn't witnessed his last words with my own eyes, ears, and heart, how could I ever begin to accept this? The truth is so far from what I've always known. Am I really supposed to believe that after all these years, all this time seeking revenge, suddenly now my enemy is my savior?
Understandable. It's really hard to swallow the truth, especially if you've been seeking for this god you've known for years. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to swallow. The academia itself, it's a scam.
Raman, that's enough. Give it a rest. You're starting to make a fool of yourself.
Dia, tell me, my Eremites and I, what are we even fighting for?
It's so sad.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult for them.
I'll live. Thanks. I should probably go. Can't just stay here forever.
What's your next move gonna be?
Oh, I know what you're going to ask. I feel deeply ashamed of everything I've done. You'll get everything you're asking for, but please, give me some time. After everything that's happened here today, somehow I need to explain it to the others.
Oh yeah, that's another thing that's gonna be difficult on his part.
It's not gonna be easy.
Well, I guess that's for me to deal with. Dia, this is where our camp's located. Make a note of it.
When would be a good time for us to go?
Tomorrow. I'll convince everyone that we're all on the same side. And I'll return every last one of your your village keepers. We'll share our other resources with you too.
You seem to finally understand that our true enemy is the sages.
Yes. The gods never gave up on anyone. It's the people responsible for all this that need to face the consequences of their actions.
Sheesh.
That must have been rough. But he seems to have figured things out now.
Ramon's no fool. Being the leader of your own faction in the desert is no easy feat. It's too bad he was held back by his belief in King Deshret. But now that that's changed, I guess we have a few more people on our side.
This is a turn for the better.
The outcome, at least, is favorable.
We should get going too. Let's head back, have a proper meal, and a nice, long sleep. We'll need all our energy tomorrow. Sino, we're leaving!
Stop yelling.
Napagalitan tuloy si Paimon.
Ramon, we're here.
Oh, what have you been waiting at school for, P-Dash? And if you're going home now, please take care.
Everything's been arranged. Someone will bring the village keepers back to Aru village shortly.
I guess all I can say now is thanks for agreeing to help.
Don't mention it. I think we can both agree you went to hell and back for it. But we share a common cause now. From here on out, we're allies.
Where are the perpetrators?
I'll bring you to them. Follow me.
So these are the people who kidnapped the village keepers.
Oh no, it's the scribe!
There's no need to yell. No one can help you now.
We've been all over the desert trying to find you.
That's right.
Oh no, he's mad. Again.
General Mahamatra? No, no. Make it quick, please. Swift and painless.
They know.
Whoa. The moment they set eyes on Sino, they turned pale like they've seen a ghost.
You should have known that I would be coming for you.
You're dead.
Wait, we were just following orders. You know what I'm talking about, right? There's no way we could have done all this by ourselves.
No, not Sino. He's gonna tear us limb from limb.
I could do worse.
Oh my god.
Please have mercy.
Start talking. Otherwise, I'll have to resort to other methods.
So, your superiors have kept you quite busy recently. Why? What are they trying to accomplish?
They, wanted to extract canned knowledge.
As expected.
Don't play dumb. You know what I'm really asking. They extract divine canned knowledge. Then what?
I really don't know how to explain it.
Well, you better start talking or you'll be sorry.
Even Paimon is mad.
You don't want to make things any more difficult for yourself, do ya?
May I ask them a question?
Be my guest.
The sages are trying to create a new god, aren't they? Oof. Even Sino and the others are shocked.
Uh-huh. That sure didn't sound like a fancy metaphor or anything. You're serious, aren't you?
How did you know?
Oh my god, the truth has come out now.
There's no use hiding it now. Yes, you're right. The academia is working on an important and potentially world-changing project. They are creating a new god. A god that will belong to them and to the people of Sumeru. It may seem as if Sumeru's academics are thriving, but ever since the death of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata, scholarly breakthroughs have been few and far between. The withering of Irminsul has been getting worse recently. The sages have tried everything they could think of, but nothing's worked. I'm always hearing them say things like, if only Greater Lord Rukkhadevata was still with us.
Continue.
And then, someone from the Fatui showed up. They called him the Doctor. He brought a gnosis and said he wanted to borrow the Academia's research facilities. The Doctor was previously expelled from the Academia. At first, the sages looked down at him in disdain. But when he said those words, Everyone's expression changed.
Oh my god, it's the doctor. It's the Patui again.
He asked them, "Do you wish to create a god?"
This is what the arrogant ignorance at the extreme end of academia looks like.
First, the academia spent a long time constructing a divine vessel, which was based on an exquisite humanoid puppet. After that, they harvested dreams via the Zeb-Zerus Festival Samsara, maximizing the Akasha's output. With the doctor's help, and the Akasha now functioning at maximum efficiency, they were able to use it to extract the power from the Gnosis and convert it into a divine core. Next, they decided that their new god needed to possess divine wisdom. For that to happen, they needed a huge quantity of divine canned knowledge.
It adds up.
But how do you determine whether the knowledge extracted is of divine origin?
Call it an educated guess? The academia has been trying to figure out the exact source of the scholar's madness for centuries, but to no avail. Nobody can explain the cause of this phenomenon. Surely you can see what that implies, Scribe Al-Haytham. If it's knowledge no mortal can comprehend, then it must be something only gods are able to decipher. In other words, it's the source of the God of Wisdom's omniscience and omnipotence.
But the sage's end product won't be greater Lord Katipata. It will be the Balladeer.
You must have noticed by now. The academia doesn't care about who their god is. It's the ability to exercise control over knowledge and wisdom that matters. It is as if they are cursed with a desire for omniscience and omnipotence that burns in their blood. Some organisms demonstrate phototaxis, and thus orient their entire lives in respect to sources of light. For the sages, their only source of hope is the existence of a deity who embodies the acme of wisdom. This is but a form of phototaxis. For many scholars, the absence of a god of wisdom means stumbling in the darkness for the duration of their lives.
Then what does Lesser Lord Kusanali mean to you? Is she not a true god present in this world? If you already have a new god, why try to create another one?
From the beginning, the academia has never treated her as a god. When the academia first discovered Lesser Lord Kusanali, the newborn god of wisdom, the sages hoped that she would be as wise as Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. But upon evaluation, they found that at the time, she possessed no more intelligence than any ordinary human child. The sages never had a ruder awakening. This forced them to accept that Greater Lord Rukkhadevata had indeed passed away.
Oh, they didn't know that that was her herself.
Not to mention that Lesser Lord Kusanali's Gnosis had been used to power the Akasha this entire time. By herself, she has neither an Archon's raw power, nor the spectacular insight expected of a god of wisdom. Slowly but surely, people began to forget about her existence.
So, this is the path the sages have chosen.
Even now, they still refuse to acknowledge Lesser Lord Kusanali. I never imagined a god could be subjected to such cruelty. No, right?
All right, let's try to keep our cool. If everyone's in a bad mood, then let's change up our scenery. Rahman, give me a few men to help us escort the village keepers back to the village. And these two scholars, they're coming too.
Yeah, Mommy Dea's leading the group.
Sure, as you wish.
The village keepers you found have all been returned to their homes, and each one has a dedicated caregiver to look after them. The two new scholars are being kept under close supervision, too. Really great work, everyone.
The atmosphere is so heavy. Hey! Say something! Stop spacing out!
Come on, is there nothing left to talk about? In that case, let's all get some water and try to think about something else.
Or I can go fetch some snacks.
Oh, Paimon's so coming with you.
Do you have any plans, Traveler?
Gods above, you're not talking about work, are you?
I want to share everything I know with all of you.
So you were still withholding some information?
Yes, I'm sorry, I had my reasons. But now I know we're all in this together. Yay!
Even though we lived through all of this firsthand, it still feels super surreal to hear you talk about it again.
That's everything we've experienced so far in Sumeru.
What a whirlwind of a story. I felt like I was holding my breath the whole time.
It seems like there'll be more issues to face in the days ahead than I'd anticipated.
Still, now's a good time to make our next move. Now that Ramon's joined us, we'll be an even stronger team.
It's time to make a plan.
Indeed. These events are a flagrant transgression of the rules in every sense. We cannot allow it to continue.
So, everyone, are we on the same page?
Crush the sages and rescue our god. That is our ultimate goal.
Let's go! Hey! No matter what lies ahead, I will do my utmost.
Well, let's brainstorm a little more about what other resources we can draw on.
The next time we gather here, we must have a solid plan.
Yep, it'll work out for sure. せーのでもそんなんじゃダメもうそんなんじゃほら心は進化するよもっともっと